everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you with another episode of our board gaming podcast, where we occasionally even talk about board games.
Which we will this week.
Yeah, well, actually, we'll have a bunch of games to talk about because we had a game night.
Is that Banter? Is that board game related? What is that?
I don't know. It's in between.
What is game night involved now?
Yeah. So our little pre-board game, what we've been playing stuff.
This is our engagement period. We're really trying to hook ears into listening to the rest of the inane ramblings we have for the rest, let's say an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Sounds about right, yeah.
2 hours at the long end.
You know what? Now you've cursed this episode to be at least 2:15.
God, I hope not. So yeah, so we're back doing game nights again. So we had our last game night prior to this most recent week. Prior to that, we hadn't had a game night since like March, I want to say 13th, 2020.
The last one I went to was March 9th.
Which was at D-Bolt, and then I think we did one more at Strange.
So that would have, yes, is this March 2020 that we're looking at?
Yes.
So that would have been March 4th. I got sick March 9th and was like, I will not be attending this week.
Yeah.
And that was March 11th was Strange.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so March 11th was our last game night. Over a year break while COVID raged and we were good and self-isolated. The podcast quality took a major dip, according to pretty much
from
universally
our
everyone.
Personal home mics.
Yeah. I think it was both audio quality because home mics and also just like
show quality.
Turns out when we're not in a room together, the vibe's different. It's easier.
Well, Zach just plays with a zip tie for an hour and a half,
yeah.
and then he gets real distracted about conversations.
I can do that both ways when we're in here or when I'm at home. So
yeah, it's a good thing I have plenty of zip ties because Zach keeps using them up every time we
to cut his finger back open.
Yes, only via pressure. It's fine.
And so yeah, so we anyway, finally now vaccines are spreading. Colorado decided to open things back up. I kind of
level clear.
Put out some feelers in the group like, hey, how do people feel about doing game nights again? What's people's comfort levels? Talk to some of the breweries. Talk to my fiance, who's an ICU nurse. Like, hey, what's COVID like at your hospital? Do you feel like it's safe to start doing a little bit of things? And everybody was pretty much like, yeah, we, as long as people are vaccinated, it should be good.
For whatever reason, I just imagined you just being like, can we play board? Like, how's COVID at your hospital? Can we play board games?
Can we play board games? Can we come
There's
to
like
your...
a cafeteria, right?
Yeah.
Do they have beer?
We would like to come to your neuro ICU ward and just play board games at the nurse's station and be in the way as much in the way as possible.
Only if you help.
Only.
It would probably be the easiest day they've ever had.
Yeah. But yeah, so we decided to start it back up. And I went to a couple breweries, being like, hey, we're going to start doing this again, doing some schedules and stuff. Went to D-Bolt. I was like, hey, would you be interested in doing this? And they were like, when? Tomorrow? And I was like,
tomorrow is Wednesday.
I wasn't planning on that, but it is the first Wednesday of the month, and that used to be your thing. And they're like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Worst case, no one shows up, and it's the same as every other Wednesday of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we did it. And at one point, Sopek was like, "Oh man, this is what it feels like to be busy again." So yeah, we had a game night. We had like 20 to 25 people show up.
Yep. About 4 or 5 tables of people playing games.
Yep. Not a lot of mingling. It was a lot of you finished your game and then you just played with the same people at your table. It wasn't quite as intermixed as some of our other game nights. I think that was both a function of when people arrived and also just like people kind of.
Well, it also didn't help that the table that we were playing at was like not next to the other tables.
Yeah,
too,
they were in the back. We were in the back front.
So we were just like we were there to play games, and when people came in, we were like, "Hey, go to the back to go play games."
There's a bunch of people back there.
Yeah,
get in the back.
Yeah, so we could tell people to go engage with gameplay, but then we didn't have to engage with them, so it was win-win.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically like
any good host.
Yeah. Our entire table was basically if you get involved enough and you earn our trust, you too can play in the front of the house.
Yeah. In other ways,
they got to come out of the barn today.
Yeah.
Like a puppy mill.
Oh, God.
See, I was definitely using it from like my restaurant days where like front of house is like the serving area and back of house is like production and kitchen and everything.
Uh-huh.
That's when I was using it more.
Well,
It's not
but
the barn.
But in the brewery world, everyone wants to go from front of house to back of house because then they get on the production side of beer.
Sure.
So I have a different viewpoint.
I could see that.
Yeah. We have quite a few people that came from
Serving.
Dish Pit,
Oh.
and now he's in charge of the whole packaging department.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think they're hooked? Should we talk about board games now?
Well, we didn't finish game night yet, I guess.
Oh, well,
We had a bunch of people, and we're going to do it again next Wednesday.
yeah, we're going to do it again this upcoming Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah.
It will have
Well,
already happened
technically
by the time you're
yesterday,
listening to this,
because
yeah.
Zach gets this out first thing Thursday morning.
Yep.
So
very, very studiously.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact. I'm impressed with his dedication to getting it out Thursday mornings.
No, yeah.
see,
Hell or high water.
Yeah. Yeah.
now we have the direct shit talking that can happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was planning on doing that, but then I had to help my friend with some personal shit. So
That'll happen. That'll happen.
Well, and you've already scheduled it for this week too, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
So
Um,
yeah, having the game night be right before, like having to do game night and then edit, that definitely seems like
But what are you doing on Tuesdays? That's the real question.
Other things. I would assume.
That sounds
Yeah.
like an excuse to me.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
heaven forbid we go back to the old ways.
No.
Where it was Monday, Tuesday, release Wednesday. You have 2 extra days, sir.
Yeah.
The other nice thing about the game night, to move away from shaming Zach, we'll circle back to shaming
Yeah,
Zach. But
absolutely,
I'm gonna,
absolutely.
It
Of
works
course,
best
of course.
if you let him get his breath and then hit him again.
Go back to his zip tie for a little while, and then
Yeah, I could just focus heavily, like solely on this thing. I'm 100% okay with that.
it's possible. It's possible,
Mhm.
is what he's saying.
There was a bunch of new faces, which was really great. There was a bunch of new people. Turns out we had like over a year of people joining the game night group and not getting to do game night. And
I looked at the members. It was over 2,500 people.
Yeah, we're huge.
Last time I looked, it was like 1,200 people.
Uh-huh.
And there was still like a good amount of new people.
Oh, yeah.
Probably a third quarter, something like that. Just brand new. And of course, some familiar faces. And some familiar faces that you're like, what was your name? Well,
I recognize your face. but I
Hey,
don't
man.
remember
How's
your
it going, pal?
A bunch of new people. It was great seeing new faces. A lot of people who were like, man, I moved here in like fucking April. And I've just
of
been
2020.
I've just been dying to do this. Yeah, like April of 2020. And it's like, I've been dying to do this. Or like, even like there was somebody who was messaging the other day about something where they were like, yeah, I remember like getting here in moving here in February of 2020 and being like, oh man, this game night seems sweet. I just got to get settled in and I'll start going. And it was like the day I was like, all right, I'm going to go next weekend. And that was the day you were like, all right, guys, I've made the difficult decision.
Yep. We are done for now.
Somebody else also pointed out like back on some of my earlier like posts and stuff where I was like, so we're going to take a few weeks off and kind of see,
Well, that's what literally everyone was saying.
Yeah.
It'll just be a couple weeks. It'll be fine.
Well, and then even like 2 months later, I was
Like,
like
the joke was
hopefully
like,
we'll
I'll
be back
see-
by summer.
I'll see you by Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yeah.
And then it was like, I was way off.
So, but we're back to it, and it was nice. It was really good getting to see everybody.
Yeah. Drink a beer.
Yeah,
I mean, I had been to Diebold a couple times before that, but
I had to early in the pandemic, and then I had not been good about going back over there.
it's just sort of been kind of like I'll go here in between this occasion or that occasion on a weekend.
Yeah.
I watched F1 qualifying there this last Saturday because I had time to kill before we had tacos or something at
Gotcha.
that one place.
Cool. So there's our pre-banter filling in of game night.
Ha-ha!
Now that we filled in the backstory of game night and that we're back to game night, let's talk about what we played at game night.
There's games being played at game night? I don't remember ever doing that.
That it was nice to actually play games at game night again, because for me it towards the end it was
I
not
had
much
multiple
of that.
game nights where it's just like, I'm going to drink beer and socialize.
Yeah.
And that's what I want out of game night right now.
Yep. I'm going to walk around and see what people are playing and talk to them about board games,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
actually going to play any board
Nope.
games.
I'm going to sit here and drink beers and talk to people.
Yep.
Yeah. This one, however, we did play games. So game nights officially start at 6 p.m. here in Denver. If you're ever in the area, feel free to come to one Wednesday nights. However, our good friend from Slack, Chris Evans, not
well,
that
from
Chris
game
Evans.
night, really.
Also from game night. We met
met him
from
at game night.
Yeah. But fan of the show, involved in
Friend
the
of
Slack.
the
Friend of the
show.
show. We don't know if
Yes.
he's a fan.
he was like, hey, I can be there at like fucking 4.
I get off work at 3, so I mean I have a 40-minute commute, but I can usually be around the area. So I was like, I could make 4.
And I'm off all day on Wednesday. So I was like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then we were like, well, what game do we want to play? And we are planning on streaming here shortly. Clinic here behind me on the stream, if you're watching the stream. We're going to be streaming Clinic pretty soon. And so I was like, well, how about I teach Clinic? Like, Jeff, would you be willing to learn Clinic? And he was like, yep, sure thing.
Yep.
And Chris was like, yep, sure thing. So we got there. Jeff picked me up on his way down, and we went. And
you are conveniently on the way now.
which is great.
Yeah. You just need to ride home.
Yeah. Which usually I can either Megan coming from work or sometimes Zach if he doesn't have friend emergencies, things like that.
Yes.
But we got there, we set up, I taught. It wasn't the smoothest teach. I've only really played Clinic once before this, and it had been a little while, so I had to kind of refresh my own brain. And it did play out a lot like how I remembered, where going through the rules, a lot of it is like, this is weird and doesn't quite make sense. But then once you start playing and getting it going, it does just really, really flow well. And the iconography starts to really make sense.
Because it is all iconography.
Tons.
I don't think there's any words in the
Not
game.
on the board, for
no,
sure.
it's all like it is almost entirely a language independent game.
Yeah.
Which a lot of his games are, from what I remember, or at least the couple that I've seen. So
Correct. I think that's kind of a thing of his.
And that is Alban Viard.
yeah,
Yep.
Viard.
And so first time back at game night, playing a relatively heavy game, and it wasn't me who pulled an Adrian. It was Chris Evans. He pulled the Adrian real hard early. Jeff got a turn off, and I got a turn off, and we built the time saver thing. And he was like, "Oh, that's clutch." So, like, he got a shit ton of time his first moving everybody, and you.
Oh
and I
yeah,
were
he
like,
went like so. The game you spend time to move your workers around.
workers, patients.
Yeah,
like
everything to move to make money and treat patients. Each square takes time, and we had both bought the thing that gives you a universal -3 to that final count of time.
Yeah. And Chris did not get that.
And he had like 14 or something crazy.
Like right out
yeah.
the gate. Yeah, you were like 3. I
Uh-huh.
didn't get mine built. I don't think I got mine built the first
No,
round.
because you can only build one of each of the special rooms
That's
per
right.
round. So you didn't get yours till the second round.
But I went real light on movement, so I was only at like 6.
yeah, and I went first, and so I could do the first action. Building being the first action, was able to build and then immediately build that with my unique player power, which was you get an extra $5. So,
Excuse me, sir. I don't think it was $5.
oh yes, it was tens of millions. I had assumed that this hospital money version was actually equaling to, because no hospital is getting something for $5
Well,
or
yeah.
$50,000 unless it's fixing your broken leg. That's about the only thing I can imagine.
Although even then, like the white cubes you heal, you get 8 units for. It's not like you're getting $8 million for the
No,
most
you'd be
basic.
getting
$80
$80
million.
million.
Yeah, that doesn't quite make sense. So a little bit abstract.
But you know what? It makes a lot more sense than really any other number. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. But yeah, so then I got my time unit, and so Chris was like, "Oh, Jeff, you got that early. Like that's going to be the winning combination or something." And you did something else that was pretty powerful that first round, like something about the way you had built.
I built tubes.
Oh yeah, you got your
Yeah.
tubes going.
Yes.
And yeah. So Chris was immediately like, "Yep, that's." I'm never going to financially recover from all this time.
But each 3 units of time is only -1 point. So -1, 2, 3, etc. For 3, 6, 9, or whatever the increments are.
Yeah, and then you can also buy points at the end of each round too. So it's like if you make enough
But
money,
you can only buy points with the amount of money that you had made
Earned in that
turn.
round.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also where your upkeep and stuff comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had also bought a custodian, which is just kind of a global -3 to that upkeep pool.
Orderly
Orderly.
that just lives in the storage
Supply
room,
closet,
supply
yeah.
closet.
I mean,
yeah.
that makes sense. But they have to move there. So every time you move them towards it, they never have to move again, but you still have to spend the,
Time to get
2
them
to
there.
3 or whatever it's going to be to get them there.
Yep. But yeah, so Chris was complaining early that he thought he was out. But then he ended up really striking hard onto the strategy that I had forgotten about, but it is a known strategy to just go heavy on nurses. Because nurses modify your doctor. So
There's 4
game-
colors.
There's 4 colors of doctor, 4 colors of patients. Doctors are little meeples, patients are little cubes. The same color of doctor can treat the same color of cube. A nurse will modify a doctor plus one color or down one color on the scale. So like
And
it goes like white, yellow, orange, red.
And
so
the higher the color, the more
money you earn
money
for
you get for
them.
treating the patient.
So he was doing stuff, and you can use unlimited nurses. So he was using like 3 nurses
a lot
to
of
make
recruiting.
a white doctor treat an orange or red patient and get a bunch of money for it.
And you also like intake on those patients. And if they sit there for a round, they get one color worse, aka one color more expensive, or one color more
critical
reward. Yeah, critical, but also they get more
lucrative
good to make. Yeah, lucrative to treat. So you want to make them. You want to recruit them and maybe not treat them right away, because the colors that come out are just random.
Yeah.
But you can recruit a white one that maybe someone doesn't want, and then give it a couple rounds, and then you can then treat it for a significantly more, because you can only really treat one patient per doctor, which is very unrealistic.
Yeah. That was when I taught Megan it. So she's a nurse. That was the first thing she said. Is she was like, "What? One doctor to one patient? What are these staffing ratios?" Like,
it's more like
this is clearly not in America.
Let's say if it's a white cube and that's like $8, that's like 8 patients to that one doctor. So like what's the red cube worth?
Like 32, I think.
That's like 32 patients to the red doctor. Let's say that, and that's why it's getting you $320 million or whatever it is. Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately that worked really well for Chris. He was bringing in a lot more money, which he was then using in that by popularity points, is what
your victory points are popularity,
PP.
Or media or whatever.
Yeah.
Advertisements for your hospital is what you're buying.
Yeah. So, and like the rules even mentioned, like during that buying point thing, he's like, because money always gets you more, money always makes you more popular or something.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, so Chris ended up winning pretty handily.
He was dumping his money into points, just
seems
because
right.
you actually don't need that much money during your round,
especially once you kind of get your hospital going.
Yeah, you need it early, but you don't want to ever sit on a stockpile of money. You want to spend as much of that money on points, and then just have enough to whatever you need to build or recruit for that next round.
Yeah.
Which, depending on who gets where, they come a little more expensive depending on how far it is, but it's only a difference of like, $0 to $4.
Yeah, not a ton.
And then when it gets later, it's like, $2 to $4. So it's not a huge like bank that you have to have there. Which I was sitting on the whole game. I probably wish I would have spent more earlier on in the game, got a couple more nurses, did more intakes, even if I couldn't treat them, because then because I had high-level doctors that couldn't do anything, and I didn't have a nurse, but I couldn't recruit the right level, and I should have recruited it earlier and let it sit there, and then I would have gotten the doctor to treat it.
And it also had that weird mechanism of, like, after your doctor treated, like
at the end of every round.
Yeah, at the end of each round, they got,
even if they treated or not.
They got worse at being a doctor.
So
yeah, they get like burnt out, or like they're too busy working. They don't keep up with like
university study or whatever
studies and stuff, which is a real thing. It just doesn't happen on the time scale.
No.
Yeah. But it's super fiddly, like way fiddly, because you're taking it's hard for you to go to each player and then do the specific thing to be like, I need this color doctor, this color, but then I can kind of swap things around. But if you move things too fast, you're like, oh, fuck, where are the doctors? Because there's no system in place at all to track where they are supposed to be. It's not like there's a sideboard that tells you where the doctor's patient room was that he just came from. So sometimes you have to like sit there and be like, all right, you do all of that weird fiddly thing. You.
Well, don't forget, anytime a person enters the hospital, there has to be a parking spot for him too.
Oh yeah, everybody, nurses, orderlies, doctors, patients, all have cars.
Yes.
Which then fill up your board and keep you from building new units and buildings and things, which can get to be a hassle. And can affect you later if you build a big hospital and you run out of parking spaces. You can't fill it with people because they won't come.
And you can build parking lots as part of your build action, but that's making it so you can't treat more patients or build other levels.
Yeah.
And there's a 3D puzzle kind of thing going on because you have levels of buildings
But you can't make parking garages, because if I know anything about hospitals, they don't have parking garages.
Nope, definitely not.
Because they explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark Knight. It was a parking garage. It wasn't actually a hospital. Fun fact.
I'd mentioned when we were playing that I did not back the second round of
This would have been a third, because this was the third Kickstarter. Clinic started,
And then the first expansion.
First set of expansions
with the
third,
deluxe, which
yes.
is what I got. I got the deluxe edition
Okay.
with the first expansion.
Gotcha.
So
this would have been the third round of crowdfunding.
Yeah,
for Clinic.
and I'd said when we played that I didn't. Well, I was checking my Kickstarters earlier, and turns out I did. So
Oh.
I do have that.
coming.
I do have that coming.
Okay.
I dropped $100 on,
A third round of expansions.
and I think it's expansion boxes 4 and 5.
because I think each one did have like a expansion box 1, 2, or 2, 3, 4, 5. Because this game is like modules.
Yeah.
crazy.
So many modules.
Yeah. I've played with a few of them outside of like the game I played with Megan. We played with some of them.
Yeah.
And then I played with some more of them when I was kind of learning and doing it solo. Some of them are interesting. Some of them, like there's a zombie one that seems like it just makes the game like fucking dumb. Like you don't take it seriously anymore,
Yeah.
but it seems like it'd be a fun little
Yeah.
twist to just mess around with sometimes.
I mean, and they're all fairly simple in that like they just are like one is like it just all adds old people,
Mhm.
or like you said zombies, or one is just one like the new one with COVID is a lot more.
That one turns it into a
cooperative.
semi-cooperative.
Yeah, which I don't know if I have that one coming because I don't know. I think that one was like a separate little mini add-on to
Yeah.
the big.
But I remember it being
box.
fairly cheap, and I
Yeah.
would be shocked if they didn't have it for fairly cheap to just buy
Probably on
at
his
any
website or
point.
something,
Yeah.
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 And I would be shocked if it wasn't just like, here's a print and play of
Right.
the COVID expansion too.
So yeah,
I think it had vaccine counters or something that may have come with the physical version.
Yeah, that sounds
that
right.
makes sense.
So we all built hospitals.
We all built
We all
hospitals.
played the 3D puzzle. We all needed to learn a little bit about what could go on each floor in each building because that was very specific.
Yeah, and what it took to make a unit work, like what you needed
Yes.
to support
Yep.
a treatment
And then I
room.
learned, I was like, I need more movement. Oh, I need to put more entrances and more helipad. We can only have like one helipad per building or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that all gives you +1 movement per round. And I was sitting at 2 movement and just being like, man, it sure would be nice to have more movement. Oh, fuck, I need to do these things to make more movement happen. I built the tubes, but that didn't give me more movement, but it gave me free movement when I used a movement. So it was kind of a trade-off there, but I probably would have liked a little more regular movement on top of that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're talking. They didn't give you enough of like the admissions movement of moving patients off of the admitting chart on the main
Yes.
board into your hospital.
Yes.
To get that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I was getting like 2 of those, and then after you get that, then you can use your time units to move them throughout your facility.
yeah, correct.
And then Chris Evans destroyed us.
Yep, he did real good, real
Yes.
nice. You and I
It's like-
basically were very much playing for second, which
Yeah,
I barely got.
Yes, we were close.
We were very close.
surprisingly close. I think it was like 4 or 5 points, something like that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was like 49 to 53, maybe
I
ish.
think
Yeah.
something like that.
And then Chris Evans like 70. I don't know.
He got 2 corners away from me.
Yeah.
But it was good.
I barely didn't get to use the 50+ token. So
You got to use it, but then
and
you
then
had
I
to
took
give it back.
negatives. Yeah, for the time or whatever we were at. Yeah, I ended up using a ton of time because I couldn't move things efficiently enough. And it's definitely one of those games to where after you've played it once, you can understand where you need to put things to be as efficient as possible. Like those tubes, I could have put way more efficiently.
Yeah.
But you also get a random starting setup for your first 3 tiles that really affect how you're going to set up the rest of your hospital and buildings and floors and all that kind of stuff.
Which that's very much for new players. Like for advanced players, you don't have to do it. You can just build your starting hospital.
Okay.
You get the
Okay.
same tiles and you just build them yourself.
Gotcha. Yeah, like I could have put an entrance in a little better place because the room that makes what
Your starting entrance always has to go into that service hub. So you can't put it right in your treatment
Okay,
room.
because the service hub is useless.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't
oh,
put
yeah, you
anything
did
there.
nothing.
You just have to move through it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to have nurses, doctors, or patients there.
Nope.
So it's just in the way. Which later you can make it a little more efficient with your entrance directly into like the fucking surgery room if you want.
Yep. Walk
Yeah.
right in, guys.
Yeah.
Off the street.
Yes.
Come lay on this bed.
Yes, but there's even a room for that. It's like the treatment room or
Outpatient.
whatever. Outpatient. Yes, it's just like no matter what color or whatever, it doesn't matter doctor, it doesn't matter patient. As long as there's doctor there, they can treat whatever. But it's only $6.
Yeah.
But you get pretty significant negative points at the end of the game if you don't have everything treated. So you don't want to just be dumping patients into your hospital and not being able to treat them
Right.
because they'll get worse and then they'll get harder to treat and then they'll get more negative points at the end of your game.
Well, and if you leave them too long, they can straight up die.
And then you get negative points.
Yeah, and you get immediate negative points for deaths, which is not great. Turns out the hospitals where people die are not popular.
Yes.
People want to go to the hospital to live. Why'd you live?
So you just let them sit there a little while and stew in whatever they have to make them a little...
We're having trouble running your insurance, sir. We're going to need you to sit in the waiting room just another day or so.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they have like a color chart. And okay, he looks red now, so we will.
We're gonna go ahead and move you.
Yeah, now we'll move you.
Yeah.
So
Chris Evans destroyed us at that, which will not end his destroying of us.
No, it won't.
Because we played with Chris Evans all night long.
Yeah. For Clinic, though, right before we move on, I got to teach Zach I got to play with Zach because he got a good idea of learning sitting and watching. But then that will be our stream, not this Friday, but should be next Friday.
Because you won't be a flooded basement.
Yeah.
This Friday.
Yeah. My basement's not flooded any longer.
Yeah.
The flooding is gone. We'll come back to this in Banter, but that's why we didn't stream this past Friday.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have been doing Clinic this upcoming Friday.
Yes.
But anyway, let's continue with what we've been playing. Jeff, what did we play next at game night?
We played a game called Fresh Fish, which is is it a Friedman?
Furstenfeld.
Nope.
Friedman Friese.
Yeah,
Friedman
Friedman
Friese.
Friese,
That's right. Furstenfeld is a different Friedman Friese game.
Yes.
About brewing beer.
Yep.
It's a fun
Still
game
an
too.
FF game. So.
Still an FF.
But this one is about getting your market as close to the supply as possible with a lot of roads.
Correct.
Zach, explain this entire game.
Oh, I can interact again. Cool.
Yes, you're allowed to.
You watched
rejoin.
us play Clinic.
I did. Yeah. And
Well, how was your zip tie? You had a zip tie to distract you this whole time, so you were probably fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So this game, it's
an old game. 2014?
Well, I mean, technically we played the classic edition, which is like 97 or something.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The new version that we played was the new I guess copy was
New
2014.
copy, yeah.
I see.
Yes. Because it was so this one is, I don't want to say it's Eric. So you're trying to make the closest route that you can.
Route building.
Route building
Through denial and bidding.
Yes. You're building routes through empty space, basically.
It is one big empty space.
Yeah, you start off empty space, and on your turn, you're going to do one of two things: is you either claim a space with a little token, or
6 that you have, I think.
Yes, you start with 6, and then you can also just draw a tile. And when you're claiming your spaces, the first one you can do is for free, but every other one you have to do is either
or anyway you want.
Yeah, anywhere you want.
It is always free.
Yes. It can go anywhere you want, but then the next ones have to be either next to a already claimed spot or a road. Or you can pull a tile up. And when you grab a tile, then it goes into a bidding phase. It can be one of two things. One, it can just be like a picnic table or something like that.
Yeah, like eating space or something, because it's like all these markets and food and stuff like that.
I
Stalls.
feel like they look like picnic tables.
Yeah.
They might be a roadblock, but
so if you get one of those,
a mechanic. A mechanic is why it's like that.
Yes, exactly. So if you get one of those, then you just put it in one of your claimed spaces.
Yep.
Or if you get one of the 4 different fish stalls, then you go into a bidding phase. And anybody who has not already put down one of that type of fishing stall or fish stall, it's a blind bid. So you just, put however many in your hand. You start with 15 like tokens, and they are negative points because the game, you want to have the least amount of points as possible.
yes.
Like golf.
Exactly. So you just put them in your hand, reveal, and whoever paid the most for it gets to place that tile down in one of their spots. Now, a
spot where they have a disc.
Yeah, that's what I meant by one of their spots. Sorry, a spot where they have one of their discs. Now you need to make sure things that we learned is that you want to make sure you have like good spots available, because if you win something or you get one of the picnic tables, you have to put it down somewhere. So if you just have like one token, and
that's where it goes.
That's exactly where it goes. And if it's across the map from the fish token the fish delivery truck that you need to go to, you're sort of fucked.
Yep.
There is a maximum amount of 12 spaces, I think. Is that what Chris said?
I believe that.
I think
sounds right.
12.
No one
per
got
token.
12.
No one got
So,
12. Someone got 9.
That
I
was
think.
me.
That was you.
We're gonna name any names.
Yes.
but-
Yeah. But like one of the interesting
We name it when we get to the score at the end.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
but like one of the most interesting parts about this game, and note we did play classic mode. There is a like in the
A
newer
modern,
edition,
whatever
a
you wanna
modern
call
version
it.
that plays it differently. So we weren't playing with that one.
Yeah, so in classic, it's always a lot of like, all right, you place something, see where we have to place roads to make sure, because everything needs to be connected to everything else, no matter what.
Right.
In the reimagined version, you can block.
You can block
Oh.
because you can actually build like streets
So that
on the outside.
underside, you will then, at the game score, place those streets where mandatory that will then count as double. distance.
Yes. Yeah. Now you can't use it to like get around something like
It still has to be the shortest distance to get to a road.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
But anyone that would need to go there will count each of those as 2, 4, 6
Yeah.
to go across 3 of them. Or
So that's the
Damn.
modern thing. Also, there's like some flowchart
That
thing.
seems almost meaner.
Yeah.
you don't need to do the math the whole time.
Yeah, you don't need to do the math
The mental
Yeah.
logic of
Yeah.
the routes.
But with this one, like Jeff was saying, every spot still has to be able to be connected to the road, meaning that if like you basically make it to where there's a channel that has to be a road, that becomes a road.
and it will wipe out people's discs
Yes.
to turn them into roads, and they just get them back in their hand.
Right.
Which
Yeah.
will possibly bone people
Yeah,
because
so-
they wanted those discs to be blocks or markets that they want
Exactly.
on bids. Or
Well, yeah,
whatever.
because you're like right next to say like the blue fish stall or the fish truck, and then you fucking cover their thing, and now their closest one is fucking a huge distance away, and then Jeff flips over a tile and it's the blue one, and now you're like, son of a bitch, I had a great spot for it, but now I can't.
Yes.
And you can try and plan your way to make, because you want to make the routes as hard as possible for other people.
Yes. You want your routes to be nice, but then there's
Exactly.
also 3 other people that are making your routes not nice. 'cause
Exactly,
They want
yes.
their routes to be nice.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's definitely a game of like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yes.
fuck me. Ah,
Exactly.
fuck. It's a game of fuck.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Fresh
Yeah,
fuck.
So much.
Fresh fuck.
Yeah. There's the fuck stall and there's the fuck delivery truck.
Yep. There's the fuck market.
Yep.
We're all getting fucked here today, everyone.
Exactly.
That's why the lollipop is on the picture.
But it was I enjoyed it a lot. Adrian,
Frustrated.
yeah, you were,
Hey,
what was your
frustrating.
journey with the game?
It was a roller coaster.
Uh-huh.
I would say it's a U shape. It's an inverse parabola.
Okay.
So it
Not
started
bell.
pretty high.
It's not a
Yeah.
bell shape.
Yeah, started pretty high. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then like I thought I had figured out like, okay, I've got this disc locked down. It's going to be safe there, and that means that I will eventually, no matter what, that will get turned into this stall at the end. And I was like, that's gonna be great. And then that tile got turned into a road.
Yeah, multiple times
and
that
then
happened.
again and again
Yeah.
and again, like 4 turns in a row. It's like, all right, I place a new one that's gonna be good. Nope. By the time it got back to me, that was now a road again.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, what the fuck?
Because many
It's kind
times
of
I was like, you're
it's
like, I could do this here, or I could put it over here, and then fuck Adrian. And you're like,
Yeah.
There was a decent amount of that too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a weird shaped board. It's
Mhm.
not like square or rectangle, or it's sort of just these like 4 or 5 boards that are sort of just kind of
And
jammed.
they're not even all the same size, so it gives a
No.
really weird shape.
And then they change depending on players and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But
And so that was definitely the low point for me. And I was like, there's no fucking
Yeah.
planning. You can't fucking plan. Who knows what the fuck's gonna happen? People are just gonna fuck you because, you know, it's me playing a game where I can get fucked, so I'm gonna get fucked. And then I was like, oh wait,
everyone
now I realize this legitimately is a safe place that will not
Yeah.
get turned into a road. Like over here, this is a safe place that can't get turned into a road, and that is equidistant from this other place that could get turned into a road, but that's gonna get me to this stall. And so I ended up being one. Like I finished at the end of the game. The last stall of each type goes to whoever was the last, like whoever doesn't have one yet. Like only 3
Yeah.
of each, in a
and they
4-player
get
game
it
are mixed
for
in.
free.
They get it for free. I
And-
got 2 of the 4.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good placements for them.
Yes. Yeah. So all 3 of us made critical errors that let Chris win.
All three of us, as in the people that weren't Chris Evans.
Yes.
It was the same error, just
Yeah.
at different times.
Yes.
Okay, there were 3 errors like that, and then there was also a 4th error that someone else made.
Okay.
That was me. So
Okay, so the error I'm talking about that we
Yeah.
all did at one point or another, we all way overbid.
yes.
Like, to
Bidding 5 to like 1 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, and it wasn't even that too, but like I know for me, the time that I bid for, like you bid 5 on a time when all of us could bid on something at least, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because it was like 5 and then like 2, 2, 1.
I think so.
But I know like when I bid 4 on something, like after thinking about it for about 20 seconds after I did it, I was like, there was no need for me to bid on this at all because where my placements were, I'm going to be safe no matter which one it goes to, and then it's going to be the same regardless. So I didn't.
And Chris realized that in the last bid as well.
Yeah.
And then ended up being
Exactly.
0,
So
where
you-
I bid 5 or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to go somewhere, but it didn't matter for him, and I didn't realize it didn't matter for him
Yeah.
at all.
Exactly. So it was once we realized when it did and didn't matter. Now the error that I made is when I bid on something that I shouldn't have bid on because I was like, oh, but I need to make sure I can place well on this one when we could, because Chris was the one that grabbed it. And when you do a tie, which includes if nobody bids on it, it's whoever drew the tile has to do it.
Yeah.
And then it goes clockwise from there. But I could have forced Chris to fucking get like a 12 on one of his spots.
Yeah.
That I was just like, yeah, I see that, but also I want to make sure that I can get whatever it was. And then I realized later, it was like, but like you said, this was a safe spot, so I could always make it that.
Yeah.
So,
So Fresh Fish.
yeah, Fresh Fish. It was
Late 90s game.
Yeah.
We basically played the late 90s version, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really good for a late 90s game.
It has that fiddly sort of like route logic. Where you're like,
You
we need
really
to make
have
sure
to keep up on.
because
Yeah.
it's not the easiest. It is certainly not the easiest
No.
rule to understand.
'cause once-
Especially early when
Yeah.
it gets weird in some spots where it's like, oh wait, the only way to get this to connect to this would be to make all of this shit road.
exactly. Yeah, there were
or like the corner's not, but everything around it in like a plus is.
about
Yeah.
30% of the way through. When we finally got it, we were like, okay, let's look over on the board and actually see what needs to be roads. And we ended up putting like 6 or 7 things.
Yeah.
Just like, okay,
well,
this
that
needs,
needs to be one.
and
That
this one needs to be one.
Yep.
Yeah. Which Chris said, he was like, I'm the veteran player. I got it. I can do it. And then it was like,
And then like 3 different times I was like, doesn't this need to be?
Yeah,
Doesn't this
he's
need to be? And then all clicked and we
Yeah.
did all of them.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I guess I didn't need to worry
Yeah.
about this
Yeah,
as much.
So Fresh Fish.
Yeah,
It's
good.
very interesting.
I dug
Decent.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's probably nigh impossible to find these days.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
he had to get it from like was it a UK or a French game store that he then had to.
Oh, yes, because he did not have the English rules for it. He had to
Yeah.
print out the English rules. That's why they were stapled together.
Yep.
Rule copies.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It was a neat. What's our overall rank on Fresh Fish? If you
Oh, yeah. Well, I got it here. Fresh Fish is
3129.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6.9 overall.
Very few ratings, but it is also fairly old.
Yeah. There's a German edition and a French edition for 30 and 40 euros respectively on the Geek Market.
Not cheap is what they're saying.
Yeah.
But it is completely
plus shipping to America.
I mean, it's completely language independent. All you need is the parts.
Yeah.
And you could probably play this game with almost literally anything.
Yeah.
It's almost print and play level
Oh boy.
simplicity.
It did not look good in 1997.
You know what? It looks better than Brass.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Oh man, old Brass is so bad. Oh geez. The German one, if you were thinking of rushing off to BGG to buy this for 40 euro, has a little note that says current availability needs to be checked. The order could be deleted after the availability check.
Uh-huh. It's like, I'll get this for you if you want to pay me $40 to maybe get it for you.
Yeah.
40 euros. Anyways, that's Fresh Fish.
Yeah. And so we played one more game on game night. Zach, you want to lead
Nope.
the...
I can lead it. I can do the lead in.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did the lead in
Go
for
ahead.
me.
Go ahead, Zach.
So we played a game called Draftosaurus. Jeff, go ahead.
Yay! So Draftosaurus was a game I picked up on some recommendation I had seen online for. I was like, oh, that seems like a great little game night game type level.
Spoiler, Spoiler alert, it is.
Yes, it is quick. It is easy. It's a game where you have a certain amount of dinosaurs that are in a blind bag. Everyone draws 6 of them, and then you draft them.
Yep.
There are 6 different types of dinosaurs: Tyrannosaurs, Stegosaurs, Triceratops, Brachiosaurs,
Sure.
Spinosaurs. You know what? There's 6 different colors, and that's all it really matters.
That's all it really matters.
Slightly different shapes.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? I will say this is that playing the game in a post-pandemic, it was like, man, we sure do touch a lot of this shit and just hand it to each other. Like it never would have crossed my mind previously, but because you're playing with the meeples and you're
drafting.
the
You take the
meeples.
6, you take one, you put your fist out in the middle, and then everyone reveals, and then they place that into the 6 different spots of their park that depend on a die that has it needs to go on the left side, the right side, the top side, the bottom side, somewhere that there isn't a dinosaur in the pen yet, or one other one that I don't remember, whatever the last.
It can't be. Did you do the one that can't be a T-Rex?
Can't be a T-Rex?
Can't be in the same space as a T-Rex.
Can't. Oh, I don't. Did we ever even have that?
No,
one?
we never
okay.
had that
All
one
right,
come up.
yeah. No, I did not because it never came up.
Amazingly enough.
So whoever's the first player of that round rolls the die. The other players have to follow those rules. They do not.
The first player, whoever rolled the die.
Whoever rolled the die doesn't have to follow the rule.
I'll tell you, about half the time though, I was like, yeah, I still want to put it where the die tells me to, though.
Yeah,
it was
not for me.
No, I mean, it was the best spot for it. I was like, oh, well, this actually works best here, wherever So
yeah. So each of the 6 spots is one is you want as many dinosaurs of the same type, you want as many dinosaurs of different types, you want a pair of 3, you want pairs of 2, you want one dinosaur that if there is more of that one than anywhere else in your park, and then you want one that is if you have more of that one than any other park. Which I chose Tyrannosaur, which I never saw another one again.
Nope.
So
of course not. You picked it way too early.
Yeah. Well, and a part of that is due to the fact that there's only 6 of each dinosaur. So the stack that's because you can technically put 6 of the same dinosaur in one spot.
Yes.
But fucking good luck trying to do that.
Yes.
I think I got 2, maybe I got 3 on one of them. I don't know. I only got 2 on that one. But I remember at least one of the turns I was like, oh, I'm going to put this. I put a yellow. I was like, oh, I'm going to take this yellow because I only see 1 on the board. And I'm going to put it on here because I have a better chance of doing it. And then we all revealed our hands and it was 3 yellows. And I was like, God damn it. And it had to be an empty pen. So it had to be that spot. So I immediately went from, I have a possibility of getting 5 dinosaurs on here to I have a possibility of getting maybe 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then you draft 6 times with those 6 dinosaurs, place them out, and then you do another grab out of the bag for another 6. You pass, and then you play until whoever gets the most points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
There is a river spot for I can't put this anywhere. It's waste. You throw them in the river.
Just fucking...
Yeah, you had to do that a couple times.
Yeah, and I would have, and I thought I was going to put
you
it in the river.
asterisk moved them at the end.
Yeah, and it took me from last to slightly less last.
Yes.
So
it was fine.
So it was fine.
Because it's not the spot that is it just has to hold 3 dinosaurs, not it has to have 3 of a kind of dinosaur.
And I would have put it in there thinking I wouldn't have gotten a couple or something like that, and then I would have gotten the 3.
Yeah, well, and then I remember you did that, and I'm like, well, how do we know that you would have been able to do that? And you're like, dude, I'm still 3rd. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm still last by not a small amount.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Just let me have this.
Yeah.
Look,
I went from 31 to 37 to 48
with an asterisk.
Yeah. And then well, as the winner, I was like, yeah, but I wanted to beat you by more points, so I really think you need to have the least amount of points as possible.
Yeah.
I got second again. That was my theme.
You got
for game
second
night.
Oh, we didn't even go over the scores of the fresh fish.
Yeah,
we just said Chris Evans destroyed us with a 0.
Yeah. And then I had
you had 8. I had 10.
I had 20.
You had 20.
Yes.
I thought you had 22.
Maybe I had 22.
Okay.
You know what? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I got last because I had a 9er in there.
Yeah. Did you just say 9er?
Yeah. Good timing point reference. And then this Draftosaurus, I mean, it went very, very quick.
It did.
But the cool thing about Draftosaurus is there's 2 different sides to the board, which are fairly different. There's a winter side and a spring-summer side. The die still kind of does the same thing.
Although the die does have, at least your die had just the wrong mark on it, or the
rule book
had
it was like, is that because it was just sort of like a blank square, like outline square, where the other one had like a little foot in it in the rule book, and I was like, oh, that's what is this? And it's like, it has to be that one because it's the only one that's not
exactly
correctly referenced
through deduction.
Yes. And then I bought both expansions. One adds like a river, like a water spate board that goes underneath. And then I have another one that adds like a pterodactyl space up top that adds some pretty interesting like drafting rules where if like you have a pterodactyl, it can go up into the top. And then there's like little routes that you build. So if you get like 3 pterodactyls, you can get to the top. And then both of those have double sides. So one has like eggs on it where you get like an additional hand of 2 dinosaurs at the beginning of the game, and you can put them on the eggs to be like, oh, I've saved this one. If you put a pterodactyl there, then it unlocks that other one to be able to place into your park.
Ah.
And the river one is you're kind of going underneath like bridges that are getting you additional like bonuses and stuff like that. So the farther that the dinosaur moves, it gets, bigger and bigger points.
Okay.
For certain types of dinosaurs.
Cool.
Yeah, light, easy. It was 15 minutes, something like that. Maybe not even. Maybe.
I feel like it was more than 15 minutes.
Maybe with a teach of like how points and stuff.
Yeah.
But I liked the meeples a lot.
Yeah.
The meeples were solid dinosaur meeples.
Yeah.
Like if you want a dinosaur meeple game, or if you want to use dinosaur meeples in anything, like these are better than, let's say, some $80 to $120 dinosaur-related plastic meeple games that you then have to buy meeple source versions to be able to actually get decent wood meeples for.
You're pretty vague about this. I don't know what you're talking about.
I feel like you're trying to make a point, Jeff.
Yeah, but it's too wide of a net you're casting.
Great metal coins, though. Oh, those metal coins are so nice.
I don't like the paint in them.
I like the really like lacquered, like acrylic.
No.
Like,
oh,
the heft is nice, but I don't like that
Hefty.
shiny lacquer in them.
Yeah. It's
Too
Dinosaur
much
Island. We're
grunting.
talking about Dinosaur Island.
Too much grunting.
Dinosaur Island grunting is what it is.
yes.
But yeah, so those are the 3 games that we played at game night. The 3 that Jeff and I played, the 2 that Zach played, and 1 that he watched. For like
a bit
70% of.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say it's surprising the time.
Yep. It's going.
Well, we talked about games, so you know what? That's where we are.
We got deep into Clinic. Deep into it.
It's a deep game.
But yeah.
It's probably the heaviest game we've played in person
a while.
For at least over a year.
Yeah.
Terraforming Mars is the only thing we really played together, online even.
Yeah, I feel like Feast for Odin's close.
Yeah,
also.
Feast for Odin, definitely. Yes.
And I played a lot of Age of Steam, which I'd say is heavier.
Oh,
but,
of course. Yes.
So anyhow, let's move on to some banter, and we'll try and keep banter short since we actually had a bunch of games to talk about. We don't need to pad the stats this time.
Nope.
No.
The only banter I really have is
it's hot.
Well, it is bonkers hot. Like both. Oh, the AC just kicked on. Speaking of, that's a nice breeze.
A breeze that Jeff and I are not going to feel.
It'll work its way around.
I feel already slightly cooler. So
it's hot here in Denver. Temperature.
The smell goes away a little bit when the AC kicks on. That's really all.
Here in the studio. Yeah, warm. I'm gonna have to figure out something. I still have that old AC unit that I used to try and melt cables with in our old studio.
Yeah.
I might try and melt some more cables with it pre-podcast here because I got that window right over there, so I can shut up the studio and just let it rip for an hour or so.
You can also get those fucking silent fans, man.
I also want to get one of those just to keep the air moving while we record, because I'm not going to run the AC while we're recording, obviously.
We tried that once.
It does not ever end well.
No, especially not in these mics.
No.
So yeah, hot outside, hot in here. No, the only thing that I'm really going to touch on
it's hot in here.
Is God damn it. My fucking basement flooded. So I've lived in this house for 3 years, and we have now had 3 major water problems. So basically what happened, Thursday, Megan and I, she worked. I didn't. I don't know. I was fucking around the house. I did like dishes and laundry and was doing a bunch of shit.
Doing a lot of water-related shit, it sounds like.
Sure was. Sure was. She came home, had dinner, And then we went and sat down on the couch to watch some Handmaid's Tale because we've been watching Handmaid's Tale and we super love it.
Just started.
Way the fuck behind times on this. We just finished season 1. We watched the first episode and she was like, "Do you want to play?" God damn it. There was no toilet involved in this, Ofer.
Yeah, that's what made it even worse.
To be fair, this is all non-toilet water related.
Yeah. So anyhow, watch the one episode. Megan was like, "Do you want to watch another one?" Like, it's getting kind of late, but neither of us worked Friday. I got up to go change around the laundry, take stuff out of the washing machine, put them in the dryer. And as I was coming back, in my basement, there was a section of the floor that already, because the concrete pad down there isn't level, like had a little bit of a give to it, like where you could feel the fake fucking laminate floor they put in, like dip a quarter of an inch to hit the concrete. And as I stepped on that spot, instead of just being like the normal drop and like vague like click, it was squish. And I was like, "Oh no." And Megan goes, "What?" And I go, "Squish, squish, squish." I go, "Oh no." So I was panicked. I thought it was my water heater because that was the other water issue I'd had recently, was that I had to replace my hot water heater. So I went into the furnace room where the hot water heater is, right around the corner from where the squishy squish was. I opened the door, and that one has like a little like reach up and click light where I have to like step into the furnace room. And I stepped in and just
Squish.
Water.
Oh yeah.
No, it wasn't a squish.
Oh.
It was like, "Oh, my foot is in water. This is bad." Clicked on the light. It got worse because then as I could see the water, it was like a kind of brownish gray, like cloudy water. And it had definitely like chunks of tomato and like celery, like bits of food pieces in it. And I was like, God damn it. Fuck. No shit. And it smelled so bad. So I'm like, "Oh no, fuck, shit. I don't know what to do. What do I do? Grabbed a plunger, like put it over the little drain and went plunge, and then plunge and pulled it up, and all the water just drained it down real fast. Left a bunch of food grit. There's like eggshells. We're like, "Oh, god damn it." I was like, what? I don't understand how this happened. So then we had started tearing up floor, and it was one of those, like, as we started pulling up floor, and it was just like, it kept going and going and going, and more water. And so that finally at some point I took a picture of it, and I was like, "Not gonna be a stream tomorrow, guys."
Yeah. We're not doing it. Yeah, tomorrow, because this was a Thursday.
It was Thursday night.
Yeah.
It was Thursday night at like fucking 10 o'clock or something. It was later than we wanted to deal with this shit. Thankfully our trash normally comes on Thursdays. Because of the holiday, they came on Friday. So a lot of what we pulled up, we were able to immediately put in the trash and just have go. Yeah, so we had to like move the video game stand, the DVD stand. Yes, because I still have a DVD stand. Had to like move a huge section of the couch. Finally got all the flooring pulled up to where we found the extent of the water, got some fans on it drying, and then went to bed. The biggest problem there is I'm used to sleeping with fans on. Like, I'm one of those people, I cannot fall asleep without a fan on. All of our fans were being used to dry the basement, so none of them were used to move the air or make noise. So it was a hot, quiet, sleepless night Thursday night up in our bedroom.
So you need one of the ceiling fans.
We do have one of those, but it doesn't make enough noise, even on full blast. Well, it makes a very fast metronome. Tick, 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 tick. But does
it also not blow enough air too?
It definitely does not.
Yeah. It's one of the ones where it just makes noise, but it doesn't do anything.
And it's not positioned in the right spot over the bed, so yeah. So we've got everything pulled up. It's bare concrete down there. It smells like a wet basement. Like, even though it's all dry now, it still just smells like a damp
You know what?
basement.
When I wandered in, I didn't notice any smell.
It doesn't. You don't notice it until you get down in there.
Isn't that because you keep blowing the air back down there?
Try to keep it as much down there as possible. Jester hasn't been able to sleep in her crate because like it's buried behind a bunch of shit. So she's in her travel crate in our bedroom, which means that like she's now, instead of like getting to sleep until whenever Megan gets up for work, or if one of us is off until like later than that even, she's now getting up at 4:30 in the morning with me, which means that she's super whiny for Megan about 5 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, today's Monday. We're recording this. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are going to be Megan and I doing just more and more work trying to get things out of there. She's taking advantage of this. She'd wanted to replace the floors because they were shit. We're going to get nicer
they were not
floors
great
down there.
Yes.
She doesn't like the paint in one of the rooms, so while everything's pulled up to get the floors in, She wants to paint before we put the new floors in, so we don't even have to worry about drop cloth. She's like, yeah, the paint can go right on the concrete. It's fine.
Yep.
So what you're saying is that now because of this, there's many things that she wanted to get done.
That
It's
are
like,
now,
oh, no, now we have to do it.
Yeah.
Now, question, middle of the night, was she just in that thing with like fucking eggs and tomatoes just being like,
washing
now
them down the
finally
drain.
we can do it.
I almost would not have put that past her, given how excited she got about this. She was like, well, I don't understand why you're so upset. Like Thursday night, as I'm ripping up floorboards, I don't understand why you're so upset. Really?
Yeah.
We had plans tomorrow to go like hiking, have a nice date night. All of that's fucked now. Like this all sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You step on the squish thing and you're like, oh no, and she's just like, oh, is there food in the cot in the thing over there?
Honey, you might want to go use a plunger on the drain.
Pro tip.
Yep.
Just like wringing her hands like a villain.
All of that sounds about right.
Probable.
Yes.
Non-zero chance.
Because it definitely wasn't happening without that.
Yeah. So that's gonna be my life for at least the next week, maybe even the week following. I'm not sure how fast this will all get done. It also means that we're not getting a new yard this year. So we're getting a new floor and new paint and
no new sod.
Yeah, no new sod this year.
Well, yeah.
Get the inside of the house livable and then worry about the outside of the house.
If lumber prices come down enough by the fall, though, I'm going to push real hard to get a new deck.
Yeah.
I want to say Game Lounge has their deck totally off limits right now due to deterioration.
Oh, no.
That seems about right.
Speaking of decks, I was there months ago, right around when they reopened.
Yeah.
I went there, and someone was trying to go out that door that goes onto the deck, and they're like, hey, that's closed because you shouldn't be on the deck.
Yep.
That is not allowed.
It's all a facade, the deck. It's
Yeah, it's for decoration only, not actual use.
Yeah. Those, famous decorative decks.
Yes.
So that's all I really have.
They've
for
got
Banter.
a lot of those at the Pentagon.
None of that. Nothing else really happened for me. I haven't been playing that much video games.
Gotcha.
Good.
A little bit of Final Fantasy VII, a little bit of Subnautica Below Zero, but nothing to talk about. So you guys take it away.
First, real quick, on Gan Schon Clever, the app, I got a new high score on there for me. The 328, which is 6 points below a perfect score for that game, or the highest achievable score as far as I can tell.
You are very close. You were very close to a perfect game.
Yes.
But you would need 4 dice to be turned into 6s or something
like
that?
I needed 5 dice that were 5s to be 6s in order for that to happen.
Which, I mean, the odds of the perfect game are extremely low.
I can't imagine how ridiculous.
No, the fact that I was able to get all of the purples and the oranges with 5s or higher is fucking ridiculous.
Yes, it is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. But that's... I forgot to mention that in games, but it's fine.
You know what? It counts.
Yeah.
It counts. Now everyone got a bonus game they just got to hear about.
Hey, that's the thing with us.
You get bonus stuff all the time.
It's a board gaming podcast. You got to listen to everything because the board games, they just sneak in. You never know when they're going to show up.
You never know.
Because it's not common.
No, it's not common. But another thing that came out recently, I don't know if I don't think I mentioned it on the last episode that we played, but I know you watched the Bo Burnham's new special.
Yes,
Inside.
I did.
I have not watched it yet.
It's real good.
I want to.
Oh, it was one of the best things I've ever watched. Ever.
You're setting the bar real high.
The bar was set very high.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I described it to a friend because I was just like, you need to watch this.
Yeah.
And it's COVID without any real reference to it.
But a real good just approximation for someone going through it in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like mental health deterioration. It's a solo one-man show.
And 100% like all of the lighting, the editing, the video,
at the very beginning it's like written, directed, edited, and everything by Bo Burnham.
Yeah. But if they didn't say that and then at the end they're like, this was edited by 20 people, you'd be like, I buy that.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, boy, is he talented.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I recently started watching, I think kind of like because of some of this, I'd started watching some of his stuff on YouTube and like some of his old stuff. And
he
it's
started when
amazing.
he was, what,
like,
16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like just watching some of his old
14
stuff. It's
years
like,
ago is when he started.
The things he was doing back then, even, it was like he's on a whole nother level. You'd watch him.
He made a movie
He did,
a couple
yes.
years ago.
Yep.
13?
Yeah.
I haven't
Which
seen it, but I heard
people
it is
have
very
said
good.
is excellent look at being a kid.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
being a teenager, early teens.
Yep.
It's yeah, it is absolutely phenomenal. I've watched it probably 3 to 4 times at this point.
Yeah.
The music in it is fantastic. It's funny, but it's not a comedy special.
It's a like you said, like a one man show sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just how he takes the crushing depression that he's living through, making this solo show during what you can say is COVID. Like, the reason he stopped is he was having panic attacks on stage. And then he was like, in January 2020, I decided to come back to comedy. And then the funniest thing happened.
Yep.
And then that's literally the only real reference there is to COVID at all in the show, period. Otherwise, it's very much like him in a room with all of this crazy equipment talking about like social media and how it's destroyed personality or people connecting with each other because like, well, I'm going to go out and do this thing because I can take some cool pictures and put it up on the internet.
dude, fucking Instagram is ruining travel.
There's a very good song about a white woman's Instagram.
That is fucking hilarious. Yeah. Well, and what's really great is on TikTok, all the white women just being like, "I'm totally fucking called out," and just show all of the and honestly, like, it's just a good amalgamation or just accumulation of like where he started to where he's been going. He has been like, his first couple specials were very one thing, like that sort of like real quick-witted sort of stuff, and then he slowly got to a little bit more introspective and started having more songs similar to like the last, I don't know, half of this fucking series.
Yeah.
It slowly just got more and more of him just like looking inward and it's
can anyone shut up about anything?
Yeah.
At all. That's like, that was like one of the cores of one of the bits.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just anyone, just shut up, just not.
Yeah. And it starts off with a banger of, of basically like,
comedy equals what was time.
Yeah.
Comedy equals tragedy plus time.
Yeah.
Time equals money.
Time equals money.
Tragedy equals 9/11. Comedy equals
9/11 plus money.
money.
Question mark. Yeah.
It was just like a little whiteboard joke he had for like half a second.
Yep.
It wasn't on screen for
No.
and I was just like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
I had to rewind and go look at it and be like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, okay.
Which I feel like that one, who's the other comedian who does a lot of songs and whiteboard stuff?
Dimitri Martin.
Dimitri Martin. I feel like he had a very similar joke about...
Which is probable.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but boy, I extremely highly recommend it, and I highly recommend an actual watch.
Yes.
I don't recommend it in a background because it is, in my opinion, very important to what the world is these days.
Yeah.
It makes me want to delete everything I have social media related and never look back.
Yeah.
It'd probably be for the best.
It would probably
definitely,
be extremely for the best.
Yeah.
It was so good. That, I mean, I've watched it 4 times since Friday.
No.
So,
Damn.
And the songs are good. They released one of the songs on YouTube.
They've done a couple of them now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first one I saw was the...
I've been resisting watching them on YouTube because I want
No,
to watch
no,
the
you wanna
watch
you-
the special.
Yeah,
Yes,
watch the
watch the special.
context of it.
it's only 87 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a welcome to the internet. It's a little bit of everything all of the time.
Yep.
Yeah, that one, is that one the core song? Like the hit from that whole thing? I don't know. I like that first Jeff Bezos song a lot.
Yeah.
Get him! It had real heavy synth in there,
Yes,
which
it
I
did.
always enjoy. So
that tracks.
yeah. It's only like a, 45-second song or something like that, but it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. When Bo Burnham is like cheerleading on Jeff Bezos,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
but you're back into it.
Yep.
Bo Burnham special. Very, 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 very good.
Very good. Yeah.
Very, very, very good. Inside
Yep.
is the name of that.
Indeed.
Me. Speaking of.
What, Adrian?
Do remember one other banter thing I want to touch on when Jeff's done.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Speaking of very positive experiences, I finished The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
I still need to
I still
start
need to get a
that.
PS5 so I can play it.
Yes,
It's
you
also
do.
on PS4.
I don't have one of those either, and so I just would do what you do. And
I've
wait
got
till
a
I get
PS4 that's
PS5.
on its last legs, so
No,
you know.
that does not
I
sound
mean,
like
I
a
do
deal.
also technically have a PS4 that I'm not using. So,
No,
uh,
I'm gonna wait for the PS5.
it was
So
a
that means you're
PS5. It
actively
was a
looking
PS5
for it, right? Because that's what you got to do to fucking
Oh,
get.
yeah.
Okay.
It was a PS5 patch that I was waiting for.
Yes.
Which did come out, but increased the
I'm
frame
waiting
rate.
for a PS5.
Yeah.
Are you following like the fucking stock alert shit to try and do that?
It's ridiculous at this
Not.
point.
No.
I,
So you're not actively doing it.
I know
then.
a store manager at Target that might be able to get away with it.
ooh, if you could hook me up.
I know someone looking for his second PS5, so just talk to me. Yeah.
Whoa!
Anyways, Last of
Adrian,
Us.
I'll have a PS5 for $700 for you. How
I
about
was
that?
gonna say, hey Adrian, great news! I'm selling my PS5, not because I got another one. I'm just selling it
Yeah.
$800.
Yeah. Last of Us Part 2, extremely different from the first one. Very good. Combat was better. It was a little too long. It was just as depressing. And I don't know what everyone was in a huff about that game. The story leaked long before it came out, and everyone was like way up in arms. And now there's like two subreddits. There's like the Free Folk versus the Game of Thrones. Sort of, where there's like the big negative group and then the big positive group. And I went into the negative group the other day and I was just like, oh, all of these people just don't like because it has a lot of non-straight gender
Yeah,
themes.
100% what it is.
Yeah,
it's 100%
and I was just
a
like,
bigotry
oh,
thing.
that
a bunch of MRAs.
And yeah, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's because it's like, oh, they made Ellie gay because it was woke, and it was, oh, they only added in the DLC. She wasn't gay in the main game, and then they only added in the DLC to be woke. And I was like, no, it was kind of actually in the main game, and oh, I should get off this subreddit immediately.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
I liked it, but I will not play it again. It's and only for the sole reason it is too long, and I don't have the time to play through it again. But I did enjoy it.
Nice.
It was absolutely gorgeous, especially just for like a PS4 game.
Yeah.
If they come out with some crazy PS5, like even way higher version,
Remastered
I will
of- yeah.
remaster it for PS5. I will probably buy that and play that again because I mean,
they did that for the first one for the PS4, and it looked real good.
and this one it's mind-blowingly
Yeah.
good looking.
So Last of Us was the reason I bought a PS3 back in the day. And
Yeah.
it looked amazing on that. And it is still to this day one of my favorite gaming experiences.
I remember playing that one, and then as soon as I finished that one, I played BioShock Infinite, and I just felt nothing the entire time. I was
That
just like,
sounds about right.
I was just like,
Really should have played those in the opposite
yeah, I was
order.
like,
Yeah,
the
fuck
stakes
you,
on this.
Ken
Yeah.
Levine.
Yeah, I was just like, no, it's you want me to care about this person? I can't care about anything right now.
I can't care about anything.
Yeah,
And it's not the game's fault.
No.
Yeah, but Last of Us 2, it is very good, but I think I'll give it a one shot, and then that's probably
Yeah.
gonna be it.
There's so much great games and things out there. Like,
I mean,
that
it's
makes
like
fully
it's
sense.
like 20, it's like 30 plus hours. It's
Yeah.
like
God damn.
as much as I enjoyed playing through it, I just can't play through. And I played it on like the very easy because I wanted to experience the story.
Mhm.
yeah.
I've
and
started doing that a lot more too. I don't got
Yeah.
time to fight with a fucking boss puzzle.
I
or
feel
monster.
I
We
get
remember.
more-
We remember you playing Jedi
Oh
Knight.
my god.
Fallen Order.
But then it makes me feel bad when I drop it too
But there
low
are
and
games
too
that are
easy.
more story focused,
Yeah.
like Last of Us, where I think Fallen Order didn't have the story to pick
No.
up the mechanics from the ground.
Yeah.
Where if you turn to the mechanics so far down, you wouldn't be able to enjoy the game because that was the game.
Yeah.
Where this is mob rooms in between story points.
Yeah.
Mhm. Which is a
Where-
lot how the first game was.
Yeah. Yes. Of course.
Which was also like, I don't know if it was as long as the second one, but it's still very long.
yeah.
So much so when
Um,
I was replaying that one, I got to like, I was like, man, I feel like I've played a good part of this game, and then it's like, oh, now you're into the second part of the game, and I'm like, out of like 3 like real long parks. I was
And
like, oh fuck.
And Last of Us 2 has a very distinct like, this is where it should end, and then they're like, Act 3.
Yeah.
But but Act 3 is very different place, different people, different graphics, different like, oh, this is totally different. Which is interesting. Like they spared no expense on Act 3.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't need Act 3. And my heart wants Act 2 to be the end, and it's not. And that's where
because
I mean,
you can't have
just be.
it could. And that's where a lot of complaints I saw, that was how you played the game, to be like, I don't want this. I want that. And
I mean, technically, you could just be like,
just
I don't
stop after
just
2.
Yeah.
If you feel that's a good end, just turn it off.
to be fair, you could just keep running into the enemies and getting yourself killed. And
Yeah.
that's the end of the game to me. Bloop,
Yep.
you died, and game over.
I think we all played Halo Reach, right? Where you just like the final mission is just you fight until you die.
Yeah, because that's how Reach happened.
Exactly.
I look forward to that new Halo game.
I
That'll
know, same
finally
here.
make a reason to own an Xbox Series X that I bought a year ago.
And I will just play it on my PC.
I'm trying to remember why I bought an Xbox.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, I like my Xbox.
You can play some great games on it, that's for sure. Game Pass on
Yeah.
console is different from Game Pass
It
on
is.
PC. So.
It is.
And I do. It's just
You got the
easier.
Elite controller.
I got
with
the
yours,
Elite
too.
controller.
Elite Series 2, in
Yeah.
fact.
And
You're too far deep. You can't.
I also have that controller. So.
Yeah.
and it's so much more of a hassle for me with my current setup to get my computer onto the TV to be able to play on the couch. And like I tried doing it with Assassin's Creed the other day, and the controllers are garbage.
For a
The
controller?
control port for
Keyboard, mouse.
So going back to Assassin's Creed Origins,
Okay.
which I own on Steam, and I tried to play just connecting my computer to my TV
Mhm.
and then using a controller. It doesn't have good controller support.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was a pain in the ass to finally get my controller to work.
Gotcha.
And so now Valhalla that I have,
Yeah,
the controls
they've
I
got-
hated, but I was able to go in
I ran-
and customize.
Didn't we play Shadows of Mordor and run into that same issue of keyboard and mouse? And then I was like, I switched to a controller, and I had way better time.
we
with
can
it.
talk about that
Yeah,
because
I
I
know.
killed because I didn't finish Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah.
That was the second one?
one.
First
Oh,
one.
Okay.
Oh, see, the
Shadows
first one I
of
did.
War was the second one, because Shadows of was the thing you thought about when
Yeah.
you thought about that game,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shadows of War was the second one. Shadows of Mordor was the first one.
Yeah.
And you're like, Shadows of, oh yeah, that legendary series.
Right.
Well, look, it has a copyrighted mechanism, man. So I don't know what to tell you.
Anyhow,
Zach had something that I was talking about Last of Us, and you were
Yeah.
like, oh yeah.
No, it was I think that was it.
Okay.
Is somebody's is your thing on at all, like volume wise?
It is.
Okay, that's what I was hearing.
Okay.
I can't hear it over my headphones. I had one thing right when you started that I
That
remember.
he was the one. Yeah,
Oh.
Raya and the Last Dragon. Latest.
Raya.
Raya.
That's what I said. Raya.
I heard
I heard
Ryan.
Ryan as well.
Oh, no,
Ryan-
Raya.
Yeah.
Let me enunciate very clearly. Raya and the Last Dragon is now free on Disney Plus. Came out on Friday, which was one of the other things that I had planned on Friday that the fucking flood nearly fucked up. We ended up watching it. I was a little disappointed. It was still good, but not as good as I had wanted it to be.
Yeah, the animation was very, very good. It was fine. It was
fine.
it was a movie that was totally fine, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed the little tiny microscopic 2D animation part that they did
that was real good. Yeah.
during the planning phase for the final act.
Oh, yeah.
I really liked the 2D animation they did for that, because I was like, oh, that's what Disney could do with 2D animation.
yeah.
Maybe we should do one of those here pretty soon.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Nick on Slack that I feel like it not having any songs or anything like that hurt a little bit of it for me.
That didn't bother me at all. I don't tend to like musicals. I'm a monster, I know.
Well, I think
May I recommend Bo Burnham's Inside?
Yeah.
I'm fine with musicals.
Well, I mean, I think keep that Moana had them and
Coco.
Coco had. Well, I mean that's
I've not seen Coco.
that's a Pixar movie, but
I need to
real
see
good.
Coco.
it's real good. Yeah. But Frozen and Tangled and all those.
Soul, I saw. I
yeah,
liked Soul.
Soul's real
Soul's
good too.
great.
I felt like it hurt it a little bit,
Is
but
that Tina Fey?
yes,
Soul?
Yes.
it is.
Okay. I heard a fun story on Reddit that a a driver in the area around Pixar had known that an African American themed Pixar movie was happening solely because he had been driving so many African American people to that area more than any time before.
Before it was announced or anything like that.
Be like, oh, you guys are making a movie for black people, huh? Because I'm driving a lot of black people around here, and that's not something I've done before.
Weird.
Yeah. Because they had brought in a bunch of like, I don't know, experts on that, jazz and stuff like that.
I've got a fun fact that's even closer related to us regarding Soul.
Yeah.
The lead singer of the jazz band that he like auditions for and is all excited to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
That woman is a jazz player here in Denver, or based here out of Denver, a jazz instructor.
I see.
And she initially was hired to do all of the music.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also mocapped her and basically based the character off her to the point where when it first came out, she was getting calls. Like I heard her on CPR talking about it.
Okay.
She kept getting calls from friends like, "Oh my God, you didn't tell me you were starring in the movie." And she's like, "I didn't know I was starring in the movie. I thought I was just playing music for the movie." But she said like the mocap was so good, like that people were like, "Man, like the character, like little subtle movements, are like that's you, like that's you."
You know they don't mocap stuff though, right?
Well, yeah, they like video
reference.
them and then,
reference. They use reference stuff, yes, but yeah.
Yeah, but I think she kept using mocap probably because I don't know. Like, and I don't know if I actually knew that they don't full on mocap. Because that was the same thing with Raya. They did a lot of
mocap for the
not actual mocap.
No.
That was actual mocap.
Yeah, especially for the combat and stuff like that. So they similar to what they did for
the Clone Wars Season 7.
Yes,
the lightsaber battles in that.
Were mocapped, like especially like that's why like the fights in Raya were so good.
Yeah.
So Raya, all of the animation, all of the fighting, all of the visual stuff was fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, top tier for that. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
I didn't care for some of the story, some of the dialogue, and some of it I couldn't tell. It was one of those where I was sitting there, and at the end of it, I got done, and I was like, "Am I just too old for Disney movies?"
No, I don't think so.
No, because you can still give them money.
Yes.
So you are not.
No.
But
I mean, and this one felt like a more mature one than some of the others. It just didn't click all the way. And also,
the dialogue didn't though, because the dialogue kept
it's
like they kept using slang where it was like I recognize this slang, but it feels like slang from somebody like 2 decades. It feels like the 19-year-old at work who keeps teaching me modern Zoomer slang, and it's just like I can't tell if you're fucking with me or not.
Yeah,
I've reached that age in my life. No, that's one of the ones he taught me recently. Of course it was.
No, it is the children who are wrong.
Yeah. No, but I think one that some of that did feel a little out of place. But then also, like you said, some of the like weird, like the trust thing didn't go like in a good direction.
They definitely, and I don't want to get too into spoilers here, but the general theme of it is you need to trust people, but it almost was like
because the sphere got broken up and they split the whole world or the country into 5 parts, and they needed to bring all the parts back together, and they needed to trust each other.
Somebody gets betrayed. There's betrayal, and then it's like, hey, you need to trust this person who betrayed you, and it's like her reason for not trusting that person is super valid. And then she's like, okay, well, I'll listen to you and trust them, even though I don't think I should. And then she gets betrayed again. And it's like, and then they're like, no, you need to trust them. And it just keeps kind of, at some point, it's like, she's got multiple reasons to not trust this person. Quit telling her to trust them. Like, at some point, there's a reason to not trust certain people in your life when they have repeatedly done you wrong and proven to be untrustworthy. So, I felt like the theme of the movie of trust I really liked.
Yes.
The way it was played out wasn't as good as it could have been, I think.
Correct.
So the writing and dialogue were the weak points for me. I'd hoped it would, when I saw the trailers and everything back in the day and I was getting excited, I had hoped it would be like another Moana for me, where it'd be like one of my favorite movies of all time that I just constantly like, oh, I've got downtime for an hour and a half and I'm not sure what to watch.
Fucking Moana.
Fucking Moana.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Like Megan and I, like she'll like pull up her computer to play
that's
like something.
That's the name of the episode, right? Fucking Moana.
Fucking
nope.
Moana.
No, that's not. No.
I heard there's. You know what? I heard there's pencil drawings on the internet for that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Rule
Just
34,
I felt I was risky enough just calling one of our episodes aggressive beefing. So
So anyways, news.
Yeah,
Is it
let's
news?
go news.
Yeah,
Kickstarter.
it's time for news. First up on news this week, Geekway is happening. Geekway is one of our favorite conventions that we go to.
Fuck
It
yeah,
is
it
in
is.
St. Charles, Missouri, a suburb of St. Louis,
Yeah,
Missouri. Right across
It's in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, it's but it's happening. It's happening, and you can buy them, and you can go, and it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right in the middle of the fucking week.
Yep. So and I think we've talked about before during news, but for anyone who doesn't fully know, this is basically just an artifact of the way things went with COVID. They canceled Geekway in 2020, and the group was kind enough to let them just cancel 2020. They rebooked for 2021 with a more flexible thing, but per their contract, they had to do one in 2021.
Yep.
They didn't feel comfortable still scheduling it in June like normal. Because they weren't sure where vaccines would be by the time they had to make a call about it. I think in retrospect, they probably would have said, fuck it, let's run it.
Yeah.
And see where things go. But
this was months ago at this point.
Yeah, it was back in like December.
Yeah. I mean, even at this point, Gen Con is like whatever the fuck they're doing with so many people in September. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they looked, and these were the only days that they felt really worked for pushing it as far out as they could,
and where they could even get the convention center. I think.
Because a lot of weekends later in the year were taken.
Yeah.
Well, I think almost all of the weekends. There was like one other weekend where they're like, we could have done it this weekend, but there's like several reasons we didn't because of
it's
other
like Christmas Day,
something
and,
stupid like
whatever.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thanksgiving. It's that weekend.
That might have been what it was or something. So it's going to be Tuesday the 5th through Thursday the 7th of October.
Mm-hmm.
Megan and I already have our tickets. We are definitely going to go. I think there's a few other people who are going. Zach, you're on the fence.
It's literally the worst time at work.
So probably not.
Yeah, I don't if I buy the tickets, can I refund them?
There is a significant refund period. I want to say it's like July 31st. I saw it on our link for things.
Yeah, I thought they had something about stuff like this.
Maybe this should have come up before we started.
Well, that's fine.
It
doesn't matter.
The refund period, I think, was pretty generous.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, anyways, if I can't refund it, then the podcast is just out money, so it's okay.
Yeah. So they're gonna have shirts this time. I don't know if they always do shirts. I don't remember shirts.
I have seen a million shirts, I think.
Okay. So these ones I like though because it's like the arch done very Frankenstein's monstrous. It's alive. Geekway to the West. October 2021. So they went with kind of the Halloween theme, but also like, hey, we made it. Like we're still here. So that's cool. They also then are doing Geekway Mini November 12th through 14th, a month later. Geekway Mini 2022 will be January 7th through the 9th, so 2 months after the first the Geekway Mini 2021, and then Geekway 2022 is May 12th through the 15th. So you get 4 Geekways in 9 months.
Yeah, I think
which is probably a bit much for anyone who doesn't live in St. Louis or in the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
So
no, I definitely will go next year, and I'm sure Jeff will as well.
It's hard for me to do a
weekday.
Refunds are 30 days before the event.
Okay.
So you have until
yeah.
Well,
and I think the main problem for me at least is like I would have to fly out Monday night and then fly back Thursday night. Like I couldn't.
Yeah, because like it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and am I getting there like late Monday night and then flying back late Thursday night? Am I taking that Friday off?
Yeah.
That's a lot of time off for a kind of weird midweek convention.
Yeah. It works great for me because I'm already off Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays anyway.
Yes.
So I just take 2 days off and I can go. And Megan, as a nurse, can really reschedule. So it works great for us.
Yeah. It is a weird convention.
Yeah. But I know. But like for us, we're gonna try and go to Gen Con a couple weeks before that. So.
Late September, whatever. Mid September.
Mid-September. So and then
yes. It is the like 16th through whatever.
Yeah.
My boss is getting married the weekend after that, so I'm glad Gen Con didn't happen the weekend after, or else I would not have been able to go to Gen Con because he would have been like, fuck you, I'm going to get married and you have to work.
But you just look at him and you say, I quit, and you spin in his face.
Yeah, that's, I hear that's a good career track.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sure Epic would take you back, so.
I'm positive they need anything that passes the mirror test.
Yep.
If you're not aware of the mirror test, they put a mirror under your nose, and if you can see your breath, you're hired.
Yep.
I was talking to my dad recently, like just the other day, and he was like, do you guys still go to Epic? And I was like, no. I was like, I kind of stopped going after they let me go. And then I really stopped going after they fucked over Jeff and
Ant way more than me.
Yes.
Way more.
I was like, yeah, after they pulled both of those fucking bullshit moves on two of my best friends, like, yeah.
I mean,
that.
well, and it was one of those like.
Have you ever not had a raise in 2 years?
I'm about to find out.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. I enjoyed their beer, but like as a free
Have you
beer.
ever paid $7,150 for a broken leg before?
No, I've not.
Oh,
but that's not really involved in them fucking you.
it's because they had such poor health insurance.
Oh,
deductibles.
Yeah. Okay,
My
fair enough.
deductible was $7,150.
God damn.
Yeah, but you know what? At least I had health insurance, and it wasn't $70,000.
Yeah.
It's because that's how much it actually cost.
Actually.
Yeah. Put a lot of bunny ears on that one.
Yeah. Ofer, they just super
They wanted to combine Ant's position with the sellers, so he would work on sellers because he was such a good worker. He had been running a barrel program of 3,500 barrels
by himself, basically.
the guy at Epic the guy at Avery that knew Ant, which was kind of like my in to Avery, which wasn't really because I had a good resume, but I at least knew someone that Ant knew there. It was like, I don't know how Ant ran that program. I have like a team of like 5 people that run my 4,000 barrel program. He's running 3,500 barrels or something that I'm probably getting wrong that Ant knows very well.
Yeah.
By himself. And it was absolutely insane how much work he was doing that whole time. And he was like, I want more money. And they're like, No. Well, here's this amount of money. I was like, no, I'm going to need more than that. Well, no. And then he wasn't there anymore.
Yep.
And you could immediately tell when you're like, wow, like they're big bad Baptists and stuff like that. Or especially, it was just like, yeah, this is not nearly
as good as it was.
As good as it was.
I don't even know who would have been able to take over that program.
Right. Like, and they had other big events like their 50 Firkin that was like a big deal every year. I can't imagine who the fuck is running a 50 Firkin that could
They didn't. It's gone.
Well,
They did it the year after, and that was it.
Yeah.
We did it, and then it didn't happen anytime after that.
Yep.
It got 1 year.
Which makes sense because probably everybody went around and went, "What the fuck happened? These used to be good."
We did them all in house, but where Ant in before would go collaborate with other people to make up ideas, and I mean, I had to help make that happen, and it was bad.
Anyway, we got into super rambling. Oh, that's almost banter right there. I don't know what happened.
Absolutely.
So Geekway is happening in October. Megan and I are going to be there. Zach and Jeff, probably not.
I am definitely a no. Zach is a probably maybe.
Yeah.
Probably maybe not.
Yeah. I feel like it's an almost certainly not and probably not.
It's going to be a hard date for people to match.
I get so much time off.
They are still drawing $1 million COVID vaccine lotteries here in Colorado. Yeah. Don't say never.
Never say never.
You win $1 million, you're probably going to come to Geekway.
Yeah. No, I have so much time off that isn't that around that time that it's going to be really hard to be able to be like, can I get some extra time off during that? It's only when our audit shit is starting, so that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Normally that would be GABF, which is not happening this year in person, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's hard to just take off in the middle of the week.
Next up in news.
Ticket to Ride has a new version, but you would be surprised because it's not just, hey, here's a new map of another part of the world. Here's a new game.
Sort of game.
A puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting. Usually they do add like a new map or an expansion or something. This time it's a new logic puzzle, a single-player logic puzzle called Ticket to Ride Track Switcher. And it has at least 40. It says it includes 40 puzzles. I don't know if there's any more. But they give you like a starting position for all of the trains on the track. And this is like a little 3D printed kind of like, I don't know, probably not 3D printed for this. They probably have a mold, but whatever. It's a little track with train tracks that are all like interlinked. So you can kind of like
it almost
switch
looks like
tracks
your
and move.
trolley problem times 4.
Sure.
Yeah.
Minus a lot of dead people.
A lot of switching things around.
Don't you tell me what not to imagine.
Jeff just sees dead bodies everywhere.
How can I make more dead people happen?
And so it'll tell you like the starting state.
I played
of
a
the
lot of
trains.
Last of Us 2. You know what? I get real dark.
Yeah.
And then it gives you a what you're trying to move that into, how you're trying to realign those trains to get them to go out of the station. And then there's points for like how many moves you can do it in, and rules and stuff for what constitutes a move and all of that type of stuff. And seems pretty straightforward overall. Small little game, but calling it a game.
It is also technically not going to be on BGG because it is a puzzle, not a game.
Well, so that's what one of the top comments said. It says like something about like this won't have a listing because it's single player logic puzzle, not a game. But then other people like pointed out like a dozen other things that are basic.
There's probably a million of those that are solo modes and stuff. So I mean, is this practically a Ticket to Ride
what
solo?
was that? The train game made by that guy.
Albin VR's engineer puzzle things or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Was that a Tramway? Was that
Tramways,
booklet
like
thing?
Tramway's book of engineering book or book of
Yeah,
engineers. I don't know if that's on BGG, but somebody points out for this one in particular that like it's a major board game publisher using a major board game name. It's arguably a solo game, and especially over COVID, so many people come out with weird solo variants and stuff that have made it on BGG.
Just
like
Pandemic had a solo.
Exactly. It's super blurred the lines of what is considered a game for BGG and what isn't. So I'll be shocked if this doesn't end up with a BGG page, to be honest. I just look forward to looking at the player count recommendations for it and just seeing solo like best and everything else not recommended.
Yeah, 100% versus 0%. It seems
So.
like a neat idea for them to make that.
And really, it's a game you could play with somebody else, like if you each had a copy. Like, pick a puzzle, play it down, and then see who can do the puzzle in the shortest amount of moves in the fastest amount of time. Like, you could easily turn it into a 2-player competitive game. Easily.
Or just even...
Or cooperative, like working together. Yeah,
logic it out.
It's basically what like Sherlock Holmes is when Megan and I play it. Is like we're both just looking for something the other person didn't see.
Is it really just a solo game plus one with you?
So, but that's Ticket to Ride Track Switcher. It looks kind of cool. I would definitely fuck around with it. If nothing else, it looks fun. Just like
it seems
move
like one of the most
trains
inventive things that Ticket to Ride has come out with in many years.
Certainly. And moving the trains around on the track looks fun. You know, I'm a child at heart.
Last up on news, we have Arkham Horror's new
Arkham Horror LCG.
LCGs.
To the Edge of the Earth.
New card set way. Not just their new set of Mythos packs.
They are completely changing how they're handling expansions for Arkham Horror LCG going forward. And it's a really good idea. So essentially what they're doing is they announced 2 new expansions. Edge of the Earth, how do they phrase these? Edge of the Earth Investigator expansion, Edge of the Earth Campaign expansion.
Yes.
And it's exactly what it sounds like. The Investigator expansion is going to have a bunch of new cards for your decks, some new investigators that you can build your decks around, so you can add them into any of the other campaigns you already have and just play with them that way.
Yeah.
Or you could get the campaign deck if you already really like the cards you have and the investigators you have and you're not interested in adding more in that regard. You could just get the campaign box to have another campaign to take your deck you already have through. If you want both, you can get both. May in our Slack channel kind of did the math, and it comes out cheaper than their previous way of doing like the releases and the Mythos packs, like everything spread out over several things. It condenses it into 2 things, lets you really target what you want out of them, and go from there. And I love it. if they did this for everything going all the way back, if they just split them into twos,
what if they just come out with like a second edition?
If it included everything up until now, or like some kind of a big box, I would very.
I don't know if they would come out with a big box that would just be like $450. That's a Kingdom Death level spending happening here.
You never know what they do.
Yeah.
It's Fantasy Flight.
If they came out with an Arkham Horror LCG second edition that was sort of a re-release in this new way, I would just be boom, 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 boom.
100%.
Yeah. Because I have loved how Marvel Champions has done it, where it's just sort of heroes, but it's not so much like content you can fight against. Where now we have those like campaigns and stuff like that are happening, but that's like a box. It's like this. That's like that.
Well, this seems like a good way. Legally, you could just get like the base box and the core box, and then just start with this.
You're a few campaigns behind.
It's not like they are. I'm assuming they're fairly self-contained.
Yeah, but but you don't have all of the cards that have come from everything, so you can't get the most efficient deck you've ever made. But do you need that? I don't know. We have enough people on Slack that they could tell me specifically, yes, you do. You need to spend that much amount of money.
Right. Yeah. I think we have an Arkham Horror channel that regularly bleeds over.
Do we have an actual Arkham Horror?
I think somebody finally
LCG?
made one.
Okay.
I think someone finally made one.
It's probably the most active we have on Slack, to be fair.
It might be.
Yeah. Because we made them go there.
We want to talk about something other than this in the board game channel, please. Specific to this expansion, there's some cool stuff. I don't play Arkham Horror, but some of the stuff, like Lily Chen is one of the new investigators, and her abilities seem fucking awesome.
I'm a big fan of her in previous games.
Yeah, like Mansions of Madness and stuff.
Yeah, she has like a bunch of different like stances or something like that, whatever their mechanic is, that you can use and have out, and they're unique to her deck, and you just sort of like shuffle them in at the beginning of the game.
So like this one that she's got is this alignment of spirit card called Discipline, and like the alignments disciplines are like her little thing. So this one, the alignment of spirit discipline, when it's face up, Lily Chen deck only, permanent card, you get +1 sanity. As an action, sorry, yeah, I haven't played in a while. Take 1 direct damage to heal 3 horror, or take 1 direct horror to heal 3 damage, and then flip this asset over. And then when you flip it after the round ends, if you took no damage or horror this round, flip it back to unbroken. So you can really like keep using it to like
every other round.
I'm going to heal some health. Oh, I'm going to heal some sanity. I'm going to heal some health.
So you sort of change the way it's like, I can take a bunch of damage this round, and 2 rounds I can take a bunch of sanity because I can heal every other one every other round.
The flip does require you to take no damage or horror to flip it back.
So you can.
You need a round to center yourself, kind of, so to speak. They're disciplines. It's like kind of meditation, but
and then she can spend experience on additional disciplines.
Yeah.
Because, you level up these decks, where something like Marvel, we haven't played the campaigns. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck. Fuck knows what happens in those campaigns.
No idea.
It's not like they haven't been out for like 3 years or something.
Yeah. Bunch of cool new stuff.
I like the way that they're releasing this one the most.
This is 100% an improvement on the release schedule for sure.
Because that old LCG release schedule is like Netrunner and Game of Thrones and Star Wars. It's just the way they did those.
Yeah.
Where this is very different from the way that those were.
It feels actually innovative as a release platform, which is cool.
Yeah. Totally.
Right on.
That's it for news. Now we're on a Kickstarter.
We are on to some Kickstarters.
First up in Kickstarter this week, we have the trash that is Binding of Isaac.
Four
Souls Requiem.
There you go.
It is extremely well funded, $4.2 million fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Over its $100,000 goal, over 34,000 backers. About 3 weeks left to go. You can get it for its most popular pledge level of $65, which gets you all the new stuff if you have the old stuff.
Now, Jeff, we know that we played the first one once. And
I have the old stuff. I can pay $65 and get all the new stuff.
You could. We played the first one once, and we're like, "This is."
I think I played it more than once.
I
played it twice.
I played it once.
I played it once, and it was like it was garbage.
At Barrels, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, at Barrel.
And
not Barrel. Burns. Burns family artisanal ales.
That's right. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said the wrong thing.
Bees.
I do that a lot.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
bees.
I mean, so this is a
Munchkin-like.
yeah, but surely this will help fix every problem that we had in
Yeah.
the first game.
It
right?
adds a very efficient and like set catch-up mechanic that will keep you from falling too far behind, and that is called relying on your friends to do nice things for you. So, in other words, it's not going to work at all.
especially in our group.
Yeah.
So they add these charmed enemies, is what they're calling them. A new cycle of enemies that force players to, quote, be nice, creating unions that will no doubt make others very jealous.
So when it dies, you have to give someone else a benefit.
Yeah.
Which in their paragraph is like, well, most likely that will be the last player. So that is like a catch-up mechanic.
Yeah.
Unless that last player fucked you at any point in the game, and then it is not going to be them.
They are also great for players who are lagging a bit, since people tend to help the player in last.
No.
You clearly did not play with any of like the groups that I've ever been a part of. Yeah.
We're far too vengeful for that.
They've doubled like the players because I mean the individual like characters are very similar, but they all have like a unique item that they start with. So they've basically added 17 new items to create those 17 new characters. There is practically a whole second game here worth of cards, in addition to being an entire second edition of the first game, which they've reprinted a bunch of that first game's cards to make a fancy, upgrade, because it was like, well, clearly that first game had a lot of problems and we're going to fix it and then we're going to double it.
Yeah.
There's a just trillion bunch of merch and pins and stickers.
So much other
and,
garbage.
I mean, people love Binding of Isaac. I am a fan of the
yeah.
Binding of Isaac game. It is probably one of the best roguelikes, period.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form, especially for how much support it gets, even post-release with mini expansions, big paid expansions, free expansions. But the game was not
bad.
good.
It was very bad.
And if you love the theme and love the game, you're going to throw $4.2 million at this one. And holy fuck.
Doesn't even
Does this
make
game
sense.
not deserve that amount of money?
Not even close.
There's going to be some fancy new components and stuff that come with that second edition. There's going to be like a big boy box, they call it, to be able to hold all of the stuff that you want from the game in sort of like a big chest thing, an even bigger chest. It's probably like
Even bigger.
3 or 4 times the size of the original chest.
As only makes sense.
Yes. But it's a Munchkin-like.
Yeah.
It's a Munchkin-like with very limited limits to how much you can fuck with someone, but so much so that we're like, oh, you got a monster that you can't beat? Well, I guess you either have to replace the card or get fucked for rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds because you can't beat it.
Yeah, I still want to say it's better than that Doomhammer game, though.
It is better than Doom Seeker.
Doom Seeker.
Doom Seeker, which is the worst Munchkin-like that I have ever played.
Yeah.
I have literally broken that game down into components I can use for other games because I will never play it again.
Yep.
But the art's
real
and the
nice. Yeah.
the art and components were good.
Yeah.
And I have literally turned it into like Dwarven Blood Bowl like reroll markers. Like, yeah,
nice.
I've been using them for anything else that has anything to do with dwarves. But yeah, Binding of Isaac, Rebirth, Requiem,
The
Four
most
Souls, whatever.
The most honest tier to pledge this is $300. It's the shitty signed tier. Edmund will add a hand-drawn poop to your Kickstarter exclusive signed print, plus the awesome and winged Isaac figure. So yeah, so if you
there's like tons of merch shit you can add onto this.
So for $300, he will literally draw a pile of shit on your exclusive print.
He's very good at drawing poos.
Mhm.
It's kind of like one of the like blocks in the game is poos.
Yeah, it's one of your first enemies that you fight. Usually.
Yes.
Well, there you
Or not
go.
even enemies, but yeah. Actually,
Wow.
there are enemies. Yes.
Like I said, it's perfect.
Yeah, and he's run into
Very
some
fitting.
problems with his like co-worker / people. Like people aren't wanting to work with him anymore. I don't remember if there's been like more, but I remember some stuff happening around him in his video game space
Gotcha.
over the years. I mean, like Super Meat Boy was like a prerequisite to Binding of Isaac. But yeah. It's a bad game that's gonna make a lot of money.
Already made millions of dollars.
Yep.
I mean,
And still has almost a month to go.
And I mean, Munchkin made a lot of money, and it's not a great game.
Nope.
But as that level of gamer, maybe people really love that.
Maybe.
But it is is tradition.
And people love collectibles that they don't ever do anything with anyway.
Yeah,
so.
but as is tradition, it is 20 minutes of fun jammed into 2 hours of game. So,
Yes. Yeah.
as is all of these Take That centric games.
Anyway, let's move on.
Moving along. We have Isle of Cats. Don't forget the Kittens expansion, a game that has also made a fuckload of money, $877,000 of its $50,000 goal, over 7,400 backers, and you have about 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which its average pledge is $126.
It's a lot.
Which does not even include the base game. That's just the new stuff from this Kickstarter, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for being a fairly straightforward polyomino game, a bit ridiculous.
Remember, this takes place in the same universe as City of Kings.
Yes, they are fleeing.
reasons.
They are fleeing the city from City of Kings.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically, they've got it's a whole bunch of new expansions. 3 new expansions on this Kickstarter. For $43 if you go for just that. Then a whole big box that's supposed to help set things up, and that's where you get the 123.
There's an insert that comes with that.
And then there's Explore and Draw, which is a
whole new game.
Yeah,
on top of that,
kind of like a roll and write, but not
a flip and fill.
Yeah, with polyominoes. Yeah, like manual Tetris.
Like some games have done well.
Yeah. And then you can get pin collections and all of that type of stuff going all the way down. And there's, basically, 2 whole chains of tiers based on what you want to go through.
You know what? At least they make the selection broken out like that, which I got to give them at least a 9 out of 10 for being able to break out in a way that you can make sense and not have to go over do I own this? Do I own this from that other Kickstarter I had? I don't know. And it will be did yes or no? Yes or no questions.
So, it adds basically 3 new things, kittens, beasts, and some other little modules. Like the kitten module adds 4 new types of tiles. With new kittens, beast module adds these weird beasts that are super bigger, weirder polyominoes to try and fill in.
Non-cat related.
They have cat icons, which represent what cat families they want to be friends with. So you're trying to still.
But they are also dogs or lizards or.
Dragon fucking things. Yeah. Then there's an event module as the third module that'll add events that come out in the game and kind of affect how things go.
Fun fact: Isle of Cats. It's all on boats. They're just traveling to an island.
Correct.
You're filling a boat with as many cats as you can.
Yeah, as effectively as you can while they're making weird shapes, because that's what cats do.
That is what cats do.
Kickstarter packs that include upgraded meeple pieces and all kinds of new cats and beasts and everything. The big 2-minute box is supposedly they're calling it the 2-minute box because it's supposed to let you set up the game in 2 minutes. Which
I'm assuming is just
true.
Is just you take it out, you set it down, and then you can start playing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it looks kind of like they've got a bunch of different little holders for all the tokens, stacks for the cards, so you can just shuffle them and draw from those, and then tiles nice and centered in it. So. Explore and Draw, like we were saying, is a little flip and fill game where you're just manually filling in your little boat based on what cards get flipped. It's 1 to 6 players, 30 to 45 minutes. Little standalone game there.
Yeah, and it seems like it's, the kind of 1 to infinite players. You just need to know whatever the cards are to be able to play
Kind of seems
yourself.
that way, yeah.
Yep.
Whole bunch of stuff.
I mean, Isle of Cats is a generally
well-regarded game.
Yeah.
Zach, you've actually played it.
I played it and I enjoyed it, yeah.
I want to say it's top...
It's in the top 100.
Top 50, top 30. I want to say it's way up there.
I know it's in the top 100. That's as far as I'm going to commit.
Of the Board Game Geek.
No, yeah.
Of BGG.
Yeah, it has a good way of doing that,
system.
They're doing that system of laying things out the polyominoes, trying to be like efficient and that sort of stuff out, and using card draws and stuff like that. That's
cool.
Yeah.
And here's a game that is a lot more for a lot of money.
Yeah.
But like you said, they break it out enough to you can get sort of what you need from it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. That's veteran, new arrival, everything cats and kittens. We're going to run you almost $200.
It's not a cheap game, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah. Hopefully you like spending money.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, Isle of Cats, don't forget the kittens. Go check it out if you want more cats on boats.
Last up on Kickstarter, we have Mechanical Beast. 25,000 of its $6,000 goal. Just over 1,000 backers. 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can pledge for $24.
Indeed.
That's not tens of millions, by the way. That's just $24.
Yep, and it's the only pledge. Just one pledge. 24.
Well, there is another pledge.
I forgot about the custom get your name in the box pledge.
Yes, but otherwise there is no additional content for that
it's
pledge.
Just your name in the box.
Yep.
So, Mechanical Beast is a competitive and or cooperative. It's got one mode for each. Game for 1 to 4 players, takes 20 to 40 minutes. And apparently it's part of a solitaire print and play contest, so that's kind of cool. I'd missed that earlier. Anyway, it is a tile laying game where you're going to be exploring the insides of this vast mechanical beast. So the theme is that it was a sentient robot that humans made that could self-improve, and then it got out of control. And then they realized nobody had any maps or any plans or any way to shut it down. So you're one of the original designers. They send you inside to navigate the different modules of the beast, get in there, and find the off switch. And so you dive in and go exploring around in this tile laying game to like work your way inside. The big catch is that you can activate these like red spaces that are gears. Some of them are like in the center of the room. Some of them can be in corners of the room, and they allow you to rotate that tile and all of the tiles attached to it, kind of similar to how a gear would. So like the one in the center, you rotate it and it'll rotate the tile you're on the direction you rotate it, and it rotates everything else like the opposite direction. Everything, all of it. And it kind of works with the art. I was trying to like use my brain to figure out like, does that actually make sense the way gears work? And it kind of does. Well enough. The way they drew it doesn't perfectly work, but it functions.
Because the center one will turn differently from the ones attached to it.
Yes. But I'm not sure you would get the same alignments of doors and things if those were, because the way they draw them, it's like the 4 orthogonal ones come in and touch that center gear. And so like that.
But it's like you spin the center one anti-clockwise, and then all the ones attached to it turn clockwise.
Yeah. So I think it works fine for a cool game mechanic.
But that
gives you a different way to manipulate.
But the ones next to it don't all just rotate into a position next to them.
No.
It's just the individual tiles that are rotating.
Yeah, they behave like gears, so where if you rotated one, the others that are touching it rotate the opposite direction.
But it's not like a Rondell where it's, or like Tzolk'in where it moves everything.
No. Yeah. And it doesn't chain. If you rotate one gear, it doesn't rotate the whole fucking map because they're all linked gears. It's not that ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway.
Then we're getting to fresh fish levels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this stuff seems cool, but also it's definitely seems like it would be like one of the more fiddly components.
They make it look really easy to like.
Yeah, I mean,
it'd be great on Tabletop Simulator, control click 3 tiles and rotate. Yeah. It would be a little bit more fiddly to do in person. If it was more than $24, it would make sense to have like magnetized pieces. So you could be like, these ones are now grouped. But it's a cool mechanic, I think.
Yes. I think as long as it's not too many tiles doing it, then I think that works well.
And I don't think it will be.
But like that one right there where you just had to like pick up 4 pieces and like rotate that.
Turn the whole section over.
Yeah. And it moves people on other tiles. And
because not all are just your players. You're also trying to get other people out of the mechanical
It 100% seems like something that we're like, oh man, that's real cool. And then we actually play it and you're like, this is such a pain in the ass. Yeah.
It's a 5-minute game with 15 minutes of moving tiles.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, you're trying to get inside. You find the off switch by exploring and like pulling out new tiles and moving along. When you find it and you turn it off, then the entire board starts collapsing down. And there's rules for like as you move through tiles, they'll collapse and like the rows shrink in and collapse down. So you have to plan how you're going to move to how it's going to collapse things as you try to get to the exit before you're trapped inside and die.
There is a full print and play. There is a full tabletop simulator.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be really great on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
That would take a lot of the fiddliness out of it.
Yes.
So
and shipping is reasonable of $6 to,
yeah.
you know.
So $24 for the base, $6 shipping in the US. So $30 shipped in the US for this game, which seems pretty reasonable.
Especially these days.
Yeah, no kidding. But that is Mechanical Beast, deep into and back out of the belly of a huge mechanical beast.
And that's it for Kickstarter.
That is indeed it for Kickstarters. So that pretty much wraps up the episode. We do have a little bit of listener feedback coming from Paulo's Corner over on last week's episode 230, Domination. He comments, "I'm so proud of your toi pronunciation." Because we learned how to say toi and
just vital.
Lavre.
Huh?
So,
was it just toi? Was it just toi? I felt there was more to the Troys.
I'm pretty sure it was just toi.
Toi? Okay.
Toi. Yeah, so our
now
Portuguese...
I'm expecting anything about, you ruined it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Back to it. Back to school.
That's what we do. We ruin things. Ruiners of hopes and dreams.
Ruins.
So yeah, our Portuguese fan teaching us French.
They're close by, comparatively to the United States. That's
true.
For sure.
Very true.
Very true. But yeah, that's it for listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, there are a bunch of different ways to do so. You can follow it, you can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You know, somebody still owes us an email full of history and lore.
I think we're
about
long
Michigan
past that.
and
I'm
Ohio.
sure you've heard this multiple times. And
We just need to keep saying wrong things until it eventually reaches a
yeah, we just keep making
critical
things
mass.
wrong. And then
Did you know that Michigan invaded Wisconsin to take the UP? Like, it was an actual shooting war.
What did you get wrong recently? It was a designer of something that was like, you are way fucking wrong.
Whoa. You're over-exaggerating. A few episodes back, we were talking about something about PAX Ren.
Yes.
Because we were talking about John Company 2nd edition Kickstarter.
Yes.
And then we were talking about PAX Ren 2nd edition Kickstarter, both of which are done. And now I'm
Phil
just...
Eklund?
No.
No, you said PAX because Cole did PAX Premiere.
So Cole Worley did both of those.
Yes.
And
premieres versus
somebody
these.
asked, did Cole Worley do PAX Premiere first? And I said, no, I think that's one of the Phil Eklund PAX games. That is incorrect. Cole Worley did, in fact, do PAX Premiere first and PAX Premiere second.
Correct.
And yeah, Nick, who listened to
a bunch of episodes all at once
over the last like 2 or 3 days, 2
Yeah.
weeks maybe, he listened to everything we've done since New Year. So January to now in like 3 days, which I was like, that is too much MHGG
That's
in
way
too
too much.
short of time. And he said, I agree. I do not recommend it.
You're going to have a problem here pretty soon.
2x speed helped, but still, that is just a lot of wrong information to take in a short amount of time.
Yep.
It just goes to show a lot of those things take a lot of the things we say about who designed what and when and where with a grain of salt. I'm not the only one who's been wrong on this show.
Most.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure the edit would say otherwise. So
yes, the edit allows Zach to never be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much he makes Jeff be wrong. He certainly never saves me from being wrong.
No.
Even when I'll correct myself,
in.
I'll be like, "Oh wait, guys!" Yeah. Like earlier when I corrected my thing about not backing Clinic, he's going to take that out so that later he'll be able to be like, Adrian was wrong. He totally backed Clinic.
Remember when you didn't do that?
Yeah.
Because I do.
Anyway, you can send us emails.
Emails, which I already did.
Yeah, I know. But I lost track of where we were.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us over on Twitter, where I tweet under at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
Jeff_MHGG.
You can find us over on Instagram /MHGameGuys. Our Facebook page, facebook.com/MHGameGuys, if you want to give us a like over there, because that's what you do on Facebook. Website, go to punchboardmedia.com. You could do /mile-high-game-guys.
That's
because
weird.
that's how they have it on
Okay.
Punchboard Media.
I see.
Or you can just go to Punchboard Media and just go to the, members, and then go to Mile High Game Guys, and you can see everything we've ever posted. And that includes episodes like this. We'll have links in the show notes to the Kickstarters we talked about, the news items we talked about, things of those nature. So you can go check all of that out. There's also links to things like our Slack channel, where you can come participate in the massive Arkham Horror LCG chat that is really probably just like 5 people that just never stop talking about Arkham Horror LCG. It's like Wes and May.
As far as I know, that still is not a thing yet.
And Ryan.
Is it actually not?
No, I don't see it. So I try and be a member of every.
Maybe they made it a private one.
I mean, for certain they have a private message group.
I mean,
but
is that where they like when I look?
We
at
get
20%
information
of the
about
message,
how many DMs are in our Slack.
Well,
and
right.
we're like, holy fuck, where
20
are all these DMs happening?
20% of the messages sent in our Slack are DMs. Yeah.
And it's probably just organizing games. Is probably
It
what
almost
is.
certainly.
Yeah.
It's the looking for game group. But yeah, so join the Slack. There's all kinds of fun things. You can come talk about sports, or if you want to, politics. Bleh.
Formula One.
Jeff's pity party today. Well, the sport I want to talk about, nobody else cares about.
But it's so interesting. I linked all the things. I've been like, look at all these fucking shit that happened. It was a good race. It was a good race. Sometimes it was a boring race. Monaco, very boring. This race, not boring.
Tires exploding, people pushing brake buttons.
Yeah.
Crazy
Magic
shit.
break.
It was the wrong kind of magic. It was a monkey paw kind of magic.
Yes.
I'm still just excited to know the guy who runs like apparently one of the best F1 podcasts is the slow blink white guy dude.
No. Blinking white guy.
Okay.
There's no slow. Blinking white guy is one of the guys that does a very popular Formula One podcast.
Definitely looks like Carrie Ellis.
Yes, but he is
Ellis.
There we go. There's
I don't
another.
actually know how to say his last name.
Drew Scanlon is the name of the blinking white guy meme that you have seen, I'm sure, many, many times.
Yeah.
And he does a Formula One podcast. He also did a Patreon travel gaming thing that was called Cloth Map, where he would go to like, all of these games had like all of these maps in like Chernobyl. So he went to Chernobyl and was just like, this is these parts of these video games that they traveled through in this video game, and here I am with a camera. And
that's fucking sweet, actually.
Yeah.
Damn.
Unfortunately, he had to stop doing that because of COVID. But
Well, at least it wasn't because of Chernobyl cancer.
yes,
The worst of all cancers.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. No clip or no Cloth Map. Cloth Map. The other guy does no clip. He does the actual just straight up video game documentaries.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then last way to interact with us.
We're just
get in
plugging
touch
all
with
the ones
us.
that
I
are
know.
all these other podcasts.
all these other shows and stuff. And they're going to return
You
the
can't
favor.
tell people about.
right?
No, you can't tell people about content that's better than ours. So
We can't ever tell anyone about anything.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm never going back. There's a whole other world.
So you can also be sure to follow us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. Follow us over there. Subscribe if you got Prime. It's fucking free. What else are you doing with your Prime sub? Give us a couple bucks. And then you can also, join Ofer and Boyd and Mike Jones in mocking me during an entire recording of the podcast and just trying to break my spirits as we record.
I'm just surprised you still have spirits at this point.
They are in tatters.
It's why you need the other 3 beers you've had so far.
It's why when Boyd was talking about me showing parts of my estate, he asked for the torture room, and I just sent a picture of the studio.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all the different ways to get a hold of us. So that's basically everything. Our sponsors are you, the listeners.
Patrons.
Via our patrons over on patreon.com/milehighgameguys. We no longer are corporate. We went full hippie. We shucked our corporate collars, and we're back to being of the people for the people. So
By the people, but
Thank you,
not
everyone.
really.
who supports us over.
Did we ever call out Jimmy the entire time that he's been a patron?
Yes.
I feel like we did.
Yeah.
Well, he $25 Jimmy gave us, so he gets 25 times the effort
Sure. Yeah.
than most of you $1 pieces of shit out there.
I don't know.
He sent me a very nice message where he was basically like, because he pledged, I don't know, like back in like December, January, something. I don't remember when specifically. But he was like,
March 29th.
okay, so not even that far back.
Yeah.
But he was like, over the last year, which it probably makes sense because it was like March. It'd been about a year since we'd done game night.
Yeah.
He's like, I realized how much game night meant to me and all of the work you did for game night. And I miss it so much, and I want to show my thanks. So here I am pledging for your podcast.
Hooray!
So it's not even podcast. It's just like.
And then he didn't even fucking show up to the first one.
I
What
know.
a real piece
What
of
the
shit,
hell,
you Jimmy. Fuck you.
I don't know if Jimmy actually listens.
I don't know either.
He might just be like, oh, Adrian does this thing. Let me support him that way.
Yeah.
I don't
He's
know.
the only one that matters in this whole situation.
I think he did join the Slack because I think I invited him to the Patreon
Okay.
channel because there's a Patreon-only channel.
That we
We
post nothing
don't
in.
block people from joining the Slack. A lot of other shows, if you want to be part of their Slack, you got to be a patron.
Yeah.
We
Well,
don't do that.
They also create a bunch of extra content just for their patrons.
yeah,
so.
well, you know.
But they also start at $5 a month for that content.
Also.
We start at $1 a month for nothing.
yeah.
And then from there, continue with the.
Nothing.
We're going to be redoing those whole things because
Yeah.
as we're getting back into things and rejuvenated and renewed, we're going to find new ways of doing
We have a new
things.
table. Totally rejuvenated.
New
I have this
table, new layout in the studio.
New
It's still
lights?
hot.
Yes.
The lights are the lights supposedly got delivered while we were recording. They supposedly showed up. We'll see.
Maybe it's just a rabbit.
My who knows?
Who
Who can
knows?
say?
Jester will find out.
She's already knows. I am certain.
Trying to remember at the beginning of the episode when we joked about that episode being
No,
about 2 hours long.
I went hard like out 210
Yeah.
as my like end limit.
Yeah, and it's currently 2:17. So
Yeah.
Well, no, because you said like 145 or something,
No,
130, and
no.
I was like to 2.
And now
And Zach
now
was like-
you've cursed us to a 210.
Well, I think you said 215.
now it's 2:17.
Well, now it's 217. So,
Yeah.
it'll be less after editing. Not much less.
Not much.
There's a bathroom break though. That's a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So
It won't make
thanks everybody
this
for,
time any
Thanks.
longer.
Thanks.
Because this all stays in.
That's the episode. Thanks everybody for being patient, sticking with us this entire time.
And all of you patrons.
And all of-
Patrons.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
Patrons.
think.
Patreon.
Our
Patrons.
patrons on Patreon.
Absolutely.
Make the show possible.
I haven't had to call out a $1 in a long time.
Just do $1 for 1 month so Jeff has somebody to yell at.
People just keep giving us more money.
I know. Damn those people.
Tragic.
Yeah, real rough. We have it here. Thanks everybody for listening. As always, I have been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Clicker Jeff.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
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 Where we all
Bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.